2020, and you know why you're here. So let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Gerissar, the PvP Padawan.
Hey guys, I'm Andallyn.
And I'm Windstead.
Holy crap. You guys didn't fight over the intro.
I know. I was like, I kind of gave it a...
He did give me a pause, and
I did, and I was like, okay. It's like when you pull up to a four-way intersection, and you just kind of like, okay, I'm going. You know?
But I'll accept the fact that you just saved the best for last. So,
excellent spin.
Bias.
Speaking of best for last, Windstead, why don't you tell us what you've been up to since our last show?
I deserve that. Okay, so it's been 2 weeks, guys.
It's been 2 weeks.
And I have been going whole hog at AoE mage grinding in Warcraft Classic. Really enjoying it. I'm not making any gold at it because I'm terrible. And I bite off more than I can chew a lot. And so I've had a ton of repair bills. But I just started doing, it's the Zul'Farrak graveyard farm on my mage. I'm level 42 and change now.
Okay.
And when I finally get it figured out and not die, I should be making tons of gold and really enjoying it. And then I have not been able to touch alpha. Oh, so that was 1 week. The second week, I have gotten 0 game time since.
Oh, no way.
Gosh, what was last time? I played Sunday of, not this last Sunday, but the Sunday before that. I have not played since Sunday of last week.
Wow. So that's the Sunday right after we left, after our last show.
After our last show, I have not played since that Sunday. And so I am just like desperate to step away from work because it's been incredibly insane. There was a potential, my grandmother-in-law had potential heart surgery, had a heart surgery happen suddenly. And so we like ran out of town. It's been really hectic the past week. And I'm hoping that I can now just like sit down, take a breath, and maybe get some game time in.
So quick question though, IRL serious.
IRL serious.
How's she doing?
She lived. She's 75. Okay. Yeah. And the doctors gave her a coin toss of whether she'd make it through the surgery. Because, I mean, 75, it's a heart problem.
Yep.
There was a very good chance that she wouldn't survive the surgery. She survived the surgery, and it's looking good.
Good stuff.
Now the easy part's done, you know, because it wasn't like there was any pain involved with the surgery. She was just unconscious the whole time. So, easy part done. Now she's got this painful recovery, and she's already 75 years old. And so it's one of those things where we're, you know, good thoughts, good feelings from me all for her. My wife would really appreciate it. But she made it through the surgery, and I'm home now. So I'm
awesome.
Happy.
Well, I'll definitely say a prayer, and I will kill an orc in her name.
Thank you. A level 75 orc, yes.
Whatever his skill level can manage, right?
Ouch. Right. Both of you. Ouch.
But Andallyn, what have you been up to the past 2 weeks?
Oh, goodness gracious, man. Been taking care of the little puppy who's kind of being a little boisterous. I don't know if you guys can hear her.
I saw it on Discord. She's adorable.
Thanks. Yeah. So we took her to a dog park. She had a great time jumping into the water, swimming around. But other than that, I've actually just kind of I haven't had a lot of game time because I've been helping my father install or getting ready to lay the groundwork for installing an in-ground pool, and we're gonna have a huge amount of work ahead of us. But it's gonna be really neat. It's gonna be really nice.
It shows in your face.
I know. I've been getting sunburnt, and it's been like 95 degrees outside each day. I mean, it was raining today, so it's like just hot and humid but it's normally hot and humid. So, but yeah, it's been an interesting past 2 weeks. But when I have had time, I've just kind of been playing Overwatch because it's like I can actually do something other than just kind of like fly around or Grimmar in LFG until I gotta log off. So.
Yeah, 15 minutes to get into a RBG or into a battleground versus 15 minutes that you actually just get to immediately play something competitive. Understandable.
I've actually heard a few people say that they're getting more enjoyment out of going into Merc mode and then just running on the other, because then the queues are almost instant.
Yeah.
But then you're also dealing with the fact that it's like either way, it seems to be a 50-50 shot of whether you win the BG or not. But at least on Merc mode, you're not sitting in a 15-20 minute queue.
Yeah. So. See, I have a hard time doing random BGs because it's just like I want to fault everyone for not playing the game.
Well, that's why you play randoms, is so that you can harass the other players for not playing correctly.
But then I would be wrong, because battlegrounds are for you to be able to do whatever you want, do stupid stuff, and so it's like,
Andallyn, when are you ever wrong?
Exactly.
Well, there was
that's
that
why
one
I can't do battlegrounds. Now you see my conundrum.
I see.
I remember years and years ago, there was two resto druids that decided they were going to try to fight each other on the road over top of mines and Arathi Basin.
Nice.
Yep.
And about 10 minutes into the game, I finally just got mad, and because I was sitting D at the stables for Alliance, and I mounted up and I ran over and dotted up the enemy druid, and the guy then got super mad at me because I ruined it for him.
Ruined my duel.
Keyboard Warriors Inc. Yes.
It was like really, and then like there was like one more tick of resources and we won, but whatever.
So what about you, Gerissar? What you been up to, buddy?
I'll be honest. So I went and took my my paladin tank through a mythic 0 and got myself a mythic key over at Tol Gador.
Cool.
I think and kind of had fun doing that. It was a really good group, and I had the intention of actually logging in and trying to push the key and see how far I could go. And then I didn't. So then I did auction house stuff, and I find after I'm done doing auction house stuff, and I start looking at actually doing stuff in game, I just don't feel like doing anything. So that's been pretty much my whole time. Last week also, I had some tests for my French course I've been talking about, so I was really studying on those as well. And then Saturday, because it was Battleground week, I decided Saturday night I was going to try to push and get 4 wins for that quest. And after 3 hours of doing epic and regular random battlegrounds and not winning a single one of them, I shut down the computer at the night after. It was late though. It was like 12:30 at night. It was my time. So I mean that's like it was interesting. But there's a few battlegrounds that I queued into that were already in the midst of going, and apparently it was as soon as people were losing, they just vacated the battleground and sat in deserter mode. So then like you have people, there's always that lag time. It just gives the enemy more chance to take over, right? So
right.
Yeah.
So there was 2 winter grasps that were like that and a deep wind gorge. So anyway, but other than that was it. We had one. It was a seething shore. It was really close. Like we almost won it, and then at the last minute, the horde team rallied and took out a bunch of us, and then they got 1 node ahead of us, and so they won. Yeah, it ticked me off.
Classic horde.
But yeah.
I wonder if these weekend battleground events are beneficial or not beneficial, because if you're wanting loot, then you feel obligated to do it.
Yeah.
And if you just left it alone, then you'd have the normal people who enjoy doing it participating. And so I wonder if that affects it.
See, And I can't answer it because I haven't been playing randoms for so long lately that I can't tell what the sense of it's been like before that. I will say that every time that there is something like a quest or some sort of a carrot that makes people do things that they normally wouldn't, it usually ends up um, being an obstacle in the gameplay because now you have people that aren't calling out incomings. There's people that aren't used to knowing what they're supposed to be doing, or they're just running around, right?
Yeah.
So
That's kind of
I
my experience. Yeah, it's just whenever it's like Children's Week is the worst week to play
yeah.
Battlegrounds.
Well, that's actually worse because nobody wants to take their child into danger because if they die, then it's useless, right? So nobody wants to take their child into danger. So everybody with their child wants to hang back and just get the win.
Yeah.
Slash invite.
Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Anyway, but since I guess the most unfortunate thing is that I'm finding it hard to log into WoW and push things, push rating, even just run random battlegrounds, run dungeons.
I tell you what, though, with the new gearing system, we may have to make a push on arenas for gearing. Because was it you that told me one of the best ways to get the power to buy the corruptions was through arenas?
Oh yeah, you totally. If you win an arena, like if you consistently win arenas, you get more Nyalotha tokens than anything else. But first, you have to win, and second,
we're starting the season at 0, so I mean, we have a pretty good shot to start a snowball effect. So
true, but now the flip side to that is that's just getting the currency to buy the preserved corruptions. You still need to get good gear to corrupt. So you still have to do PvE too.
Dang it.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
It's just depressing.
Well, how about this? Why don't we, since we're talking about gear, why don't we oh, shoot, actually, here's a good question. Before we actually move on to the Need Greed Pass, did you guys get any loot in your chest this week? I mean, it is reset day.
It is reset day. I did not play enough to get... I did get a piece of new gear from my Classic tune, and it was the Black Mage Weave gloves. I was able to craft those in Classic, and that upped my power a pretty good little bit.
I can imagine. That's one thing I miss. I miss crafting gear actually being worthwhile.
Matters. Oh, yeah. It felt good to craft that.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so that was my chest.
Did you get anything good in Overwatch?
I got a couple gold skins. I got a couple loot boxes for playing as a tank. You know? So, yeah.
All right. Okay.
I would love to be opening up some boxes in WoW. Unfortunately, I don't.
You have to play it first, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely feels like the end of an expansion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it feels very much like, what's really left to push for,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's stop flogging that horse and let's move on to the Need Greed Pass.
This likely won't be a clean fight, so keep your distance, eh?
All right, let's keep our distance, eh? Face mask.
We are social distancing.
That's right.
I think we're social distancing the better than some, especially right now with some of the stuff going on.
Like true Culturians.
Yes. Actually, yeah, because I mean, considering their racial's knockback, right? If you get too close to them, they're just gonna punch you.
Yeah.
I think we need a meme about that.
Pardon me?
I think we need a meme about that.
Keep your distance.
A social distancing, like true Culturians meme. I think that'd be hilarious.
Interesting. Well, we'll leave that to somebody who's much more talented than us, I think. But how about let's get into our Need Greed Pass. So, of course, this is our segment where one of us is going to pose a scenario with 3 options related to WoW. And the participants, me, yourself, Windstead, yourself, Andallyn, and of course, yourselves out there, our audience, need to decide which option they will need, which one they will greed, and which one they will pass. So let the hilarity commence as we decide on what we will need, greed, and pass. So this one's actually my turn, and I'm gonna. I hope we haven't done this one before. I stopped tracking this stuff. So, so I was thinking about, since we're doing alpha stuff and we're talking about Shadowlands, I was thinking about the flying in Shadowlands.
Ooh, okay.
And right. So it's always the great debate. You know, should we have flying? Should we not have flying? Should we have flying right away? Should we have to earn it with the Pathfinder? Right. So really, it's going to be that simple. Is for flying in Shadowlands, do you guys think we should get it right away? Go back to like the Burning Crusade version where you had to pay for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's immediately available. You just have to have the gold to be able to pay for it. Do you think we should earn it through Pathfinder like we've been having to do for a while? And with that, I'm going to let you guys add a little flavor to that as to if you think Pathfinder should be made available right away, or if it should be like a point 2 or a 0.3 version. Okay, I'm going to give you guys that. So, and then should we just not have flying in Shadowlands if it should not exist? So, what do you guys think? Get it right away, and have to pay for it. Earn it through Pathfinder, but you guys get to pick which version of the expansion it comes through, or no flying at all, everybody stuck to the ground.
Okay, so if I would need the available right away if you can pay for it. Okay. But I'd do that on 2 conditions. One, if you're in combat, you cannot mount.
Already true.
And
Okay.
or that if you get engaged in combat, you dismount. Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
And 2 would be that there are areas in the game that require flying to participate in.
Okay.
Like Burning Crusade had, like Wrath of the Lich King had. I mean, if you wanted to do stuff in Netherstorm, you had to have flying.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was a key integral part of being able to progress your character in that game. So immediately available, and unfortunately gold is just so broken in the game right now that you'd have to figure out some other way of paying for it.
5 million gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's
I
what
would
Pathfinder aimed to do, right?
Yes, and that's where I would greed Pathfinder
Okay.
in the game available day 1. That if you can complete the Pathfinder achievement, congratulations, you have flying.
Okay.
I like that. And then I would pass on, hey, Pathfinder, but you have to wait a couple of expansions. And again, the greed would be on the same thing that, hey, if you are engaged in combat, you are not mounted. So world PvP is still in play. I can't just sheep you mount and run away. You know.
Okay. So ultimately, rather than picking no flying at all, you'd rather greed or pass on a version on one version of Pathfinder.
Yeah, I mean, flying is just such a part of Warcraft right now that, and especially, I mean, the expansion that I fell in love with the most was Burning Crusade. And the ability to fly and jump out of the sky and start a battle with somebody was awesome. And then holding them in combat so they couldn't immediately just CC, run away, jump on a mountain and escape, you know, that there was some actual interplay there. I really enjoyed that. And the aspect of that, once you got flying, you opened up a whole nother aspect of the game to continue in your progression.
Yeah, fair.
You know, now it's just like, oh, you get flying and it's like, okay, well, I can just do everything else that I was already doing just faster. You know, flying is not necessary to enjoy the game. You know, you don't even have to leave a capital city and you can just auto queue for 95% of all in-game content.
True that.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So yeah,
how about you?
That's me.
Okay. Andallyn, what are you thinking, buddy?
This is a tough one. I could think about this for a while, but I think you know, so far my thoughts are, I would need on the Pathfinder flying option, under the idea that I agree with Winstead here that there's got to be some type of game content where flying is necessary. I think that actually gives a lot of reason to why you would to why that would be an important milestone. And if it's not supposed to be an important milestone, then either just give it to everybody, or don't allow it at all. You know. And so, personally, the other two are kind of tied for that reason. I guess I would, in either order, put them in greeted and pass, just because I think, if you're either all or nothing. There's either a point to flying or there's not. Personally, I'd like to see there be a point to it. I think I never got to play the Burning Crusade route to it, but that sounds very enjoyable. But I do like right now how with flying you have the ways of knocking people off their flying mounts. But I would like to see something even more so that would allow mounts not to just be a nana bana boo boo. I'm a third grade kid who just tagged you, and now I sit on base for the rest of recess. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna also
you played in Lich King, right?
I played 90 days before Kata dropped is when I actually started playing WoW seriously.
Yeah, because it was
So
a matter of
Lich King,
if you wanted to. Well, and even in Cataclysm, there were some certain things that unless you had flying in the world, you just couldn't do them.
Yeah.
So I mean that was kind of part of it, but it was really heavy in Burning Crusade and Lich King.
Yeah.
All of what was that? The Giants area. Stormheim. That's Legion. What am I thinking?
No, Stormheim was.
Stormheim was.
Oh no.
It was Ice Crown Citadel, but there was that one next to it. It's just like
fjords.
Oh gosh, that's gonna. No, it's not the Howling Forge. This is gonna kill me. I'm gonna have to look this up. Gerissar, proceed with your need greed pass while I find this.
Was it the Hodor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the one you're talking about. Yeah, Hodor.
Yeah, well, that was the faction that was there.
Oh, Mortai's talking about. Is it the Isle of Giants? You're thinking of in Legion?
No, it's north. Oh gosh, man, what was the North Rim? Oh gosh, I got so many things going on in my life. I'm just gonna log into the game real quick and pull up my map and pop it out there. But you go ahead and do need greed pass, and I'll.
Okay. All right. Okay. Storm Peaks, maybe. Yeah.
Yes, Storm Peaks.
There you go.
Thank you. Storm Peaks. In Storm Peaks, if you did not have flying, you could not do anything in that zone.
No, I think you could. It was just a major pain in the butt.
No, man, it was like you could start the zone, but if you didn't have flying, you could not finish it. Because in order to even get to the Thor guy, you had to have flying in order to reach him. You could not just. There was no way to get to him without flying.
Oh yeah, I thought there was a quest to get up there. Anyway,
so
whatever.
Or like the tower in Dragonblight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, there were just things that unless you had flying, you could not.
The Vortex Pinnacle
progress in the game.
Well.
Yeah.
Same with Oh man, now I'm brain farting. There was the raid in Wrath as well, where you had to get flying just to be able to get up to the Ziggurat.
Yep.
Next Ramus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So So my turn here. Oh boy. Okay. So I'm gonna say I'm a fan as well of flying. I would prefer if it was available right away, but you just had to pay for it.
With gold?
So, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm surprised Blizzard just didn't do this anyways, because they're just going to make a ton of money off of tokens, and people who are capable of making money off of the auction house, or for just farming gold, they're good to go. And if you can't afford it, it gives you a goal to run towards, is to just keep playing the game to make enough gold to be able to afford it, right? I really think that we should go back to that way.
Amount?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to sound ridiculous amount anyways because of how much gold. There's always the inflation of expansionisms, right? So every time there's new expansion, you're making way more gold, right? So
yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, like 1 million gold isn't exactly a ridiculous amount. You know.
Well,
for a
that depends on the
player,
person.
Yeah.
That sounds like
a
a lot.
Casual player, that's a lot of gold.
So
Well,
that's the thing. Like, I mean, if it comes down to playing the game, right?
Well, it's but see what matters is not who sees this as an extreme. What matters is what is it to the majority of the player base, right?
Well, majority of the player base is probably casual, right?
Yeah.
So if you make it 1 million gold, assuming that people are going to be able to earn that over, let's say, 2 months of gameplay or 3 months of gameplay, then that seems reasonable for a 2-year expansion, right? And really that's what it comes down to is it's time invested to earning something.
Yeah. I mean, I would lobby more so for like a 1.5 million gold cost.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not haggling over price. I'm just saying I'd rather it be available right away and have to pay for it. So that's gonna be my need. I am going to then greed on Pathfinder, so long as at least Pathfinder, the achievement for Pathfinder is known at day 1. So rather than waiting until I think what was it 8.1 when we first got the first step of Pathfinder, and it wasn't until 8.2 dropped that then you got the second step of Pathfinder, and you had no idea what the achievement was going to be until it dropped.
You knew you were going to have to be revered, explore
sure,
all the zones.
Yeah.
It really doesn't change expansion to expansion, does it?
True.
Not anymore, no.
Did it ever?
I thought there was.
Well, I mean, the first time it was ever done was Draenor. So.
Right. And so
I thought there was one where it was like they had an achievement, but it was like RNG based as to whether something happened or not, and then they got rid of that. So, but you're right. I mean, it's always explore all the areas, get revered with some expansion,
finish all storyline quests.
Draenor Pathfinder. Okay, you have to explore all the zones. You have to do the Master Treasure Hunter, discover 100 treasures in Draenor, right?
Oh yeah,
Securing
that was so
Draenor,
stupid.
which was you had to do all of the assaults. The Lore Master, you had to do all of the Draenor quest line. You had to be the diplomat. You had to earn revered in all the reputations. So I mean, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'd just rather it be announced and known rather than assume that that's what it is, and then, oh, big surprise, if they throw something else in there that you didn't expect. Right?
Or that you rush through all that content and you get to the point where, okay, I've got Pathfinder, and now I have to wait for the reward.
True.
That's a drag.
Hey, yeah. I guess, anyway, so I guess those are the two that I want. And then, of course, obviously, I like flying. I like the enjoyment of earning flying. Then it makes it much easier when I have my alts to then level them. It makes world questing so much easier because there's no central hub where I can go to just one place and get a bunch of quests. I have to hop around the world all over the place. So it's doing flying so much easier.
Yeah.
And I enjoy having the little gizmo to knock people off their mounts and watch them fall to their deaths.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a druid.
But I mean,
Be a druid. fly next to him, knock him out, you cast your flying.
It's tough
Yeah.
with Pathfinder though too, because and we're spending way too much time in this, but it's like I still haven't even gotten it done yet, and I'm just like, oh, I still have to get Mechagon rep.
Well, there's no
And
reason
it's just-
to.
Exactly, there's no reason to. It's like great, so I can level another tune faster, like because I can fly. Like it doesn't help me. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference. I have no interest in
Make it
whatever. I'll
part
just
of
go
your
back and do it
character
later. Like
progression.
it doesn't matter.
Yep. Make it part of your
Yeah.
character progression so that when you do get flying, you now open up new parts of the game to explore with flying.
Yeah, and you can't just get lock portaled there.
Yep.
I do like some of the things that are being said in chat about this
I do
as
too.
well. There's some great points.
Absolutely.
Like the fact that, like with Draenor, you basically completed the game to then get flying. It's like, okay, now I have flying. Now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
Well-
and yeah, there's some good points there. So I'll say this is we'll move on, but you, the listeners, you, the audience, let us know what you think. What's your need, greed, and pass, and what do you think about the different versions of earning flying? So go ahead, email us, technicallypvp@gmail.com, or tweet us at technically_pvp. But in the meantime, while you guys are doing that, we're going to start talking about the upcoming PvP events.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
Let's do it.
Yeah. Upcoming WoW PvP events. So Dalaran Gaming, always going to be there. I think he's about the only one that's being consistent in his 5v5s. The Classic Dueler League, again, has actually started. The EU qualifiers are running around now. And I believe, I don't have a date yet of when Tips is going to be moving on to the finals for that. So, actually, I think today is the last day for the qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That's cool. I like
Yeah.
that Trickster one. He actually, I was really impressed at his play, and I kind of enjoyed watching him in the first one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what about him?
Shadow Priest.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Shadow
Alright.
Priest is so good in
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
So-
so explosive. So
Yeah.
explosive.
I remember he was playing against a warlock in a matchup, and it was really interesting. And I mean him and God, I can't remember who the other commentator was at the time, who was helping him, but they did a really good job at kind of breaking it down and like pulling you into the matchup and kind of showing you what the what the break points were. It was really interesting.
Oh, cool.
So I recognize his name because of that.
Cool. I'll have to actually watch that. I have to admit the qualifiers for the first cup kind of turned me off a little bit. It was a little bit a little long and drawn out for me to watch people auto attack to death. It was
Speaking
not
of
gonna lie.
speaking of long and drawn out, how about that AWC?
How about this intro?
Yeah. Yeah. Both of those.
So yeah, versatility is a thing, and it can drag. I mean, we officially reached the highest dampening ever.
So I put out that tweet. It was 88%. At first I thought it was 89, but then I went back and took a snapshot. It was 88%. But then somebody else said that there was another 88% on Tolvaron as well a year ago or so. But I haven't been able to find that data. And then somebody else thought that it had actually gone to 93, but I don't
I
ever
think it was an
remember that.
XRB to the moon game.
Oh, maybe.
I think it
93?
was. Of course, now they are who?
Wildcard Gaming?
Yeah, Wildcard. Right. Yeah, I thought it was, and then I started second guessing myself. Yeah, of course they're Wildcard Gaming now, but when at the time they were XRB to the moon, right? Blizzo's team.
Yeah.
and Looney.
Now I couldn't stay up and watch all of it. When did it end? I heard it went insanely late.
It ended after 10 o'clock p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah.
So that was a 12-hour championship Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's long-winded right there. Whew.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty slow. But hopefully, we'll see, because there's some hot fixes. We're going to talk about those in the news later. So we'll see how that changes. But there's one cup left for NA and EU for the teams to get their last shot of points to then find where they sit for their regional finals. And that's cup number 4, and that's going to be this weekend.
How's the viewership been?
It's been pretty good. Obviously, it starts off a little slow in the morning and is a little bit low in the evening. But it's been sitting over, I think it was about 18,000 average for the most part. I have to look up the numbers again.
Not bad. It's better than what it was doing last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it does seem to be a bit higher. So let's move on. You guys see the thing about the Classic Summer Bowl that they're doing?
Yes. Yeah.
Classic Summer Bowl?
I did.
Yes.
I even looked at that again in the email today.
Yeah. So that got announced yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And so this is going to be a classic. It's a classic Warsong Gulch brawl, essentially. 10v10. Yeah, 10v10 classic brawl. They're putting Blizzard's put $4,000 into the prize pools for both regions. It's going to start on the 18th of June, and it's going to go through to the 5th of July. So it's going to be there's going to be teams made up. There's ability for people to be free agents to then pick up in teams, and you can then play to qualify, and then they'll pick the top teams to then go into doing the finals. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
What? This is insane. I love this. This is wonderful.
So this is Blizzard taking advantage of the war game mode that they had put into Classic. The only downside is that it's on live servers, so there's no cross realm available. So you are going to have to make teams on your servers. So I'll be really interested to see who shows up to this. And we'll have the link for that in the show notes. Go over to it's on the official webpage in the news. They
have to be able to be. I mean, we know that they can copy a character onto a private server. You know, they do it all the time when they do the tournament realms.
Yep.
And so,
well,
I have to feel that
you don't copy characters on tournament realms.
Oh, you don't copy characters on TR? I know you do on Alpha and Beta.
You do on PTR.
Okay,
but not on TR.
You make it from scratch.
Okay,
that's correct.
Interesting.
But you're making a 120 and then you just buy gear and stack it out.
Yeah, because
so
they lock you to one area and they have vendors for every item that you need.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. Okay.
I'd love to see them just do a PTR clone though. You know, just because once you get done with the qualifiers and you have the best of each battle group, then you kind of need to have those guys square off against each other, in my opinion. You know, so.
Well, everything's going to be squared off in the Warsong Gulch.
Yeah, right? No, I'm happy about that. That's gonna.
So I guess the wargaming can happen cross realm. It's just you can't group cross realm.
So here's a question.
Oh, okay. I see.
Do we have any idea on who's going to be bringing us the action live?
Not yet. I know they're still talking about it.
Okay.
I'm calling it right now. I think Tips is going to be on there. Tips is going to be on there.
I really hope he does. I really hope so.
Yeah.
Who else should be on there?
Oh, that's a good question. Who did the Twitch rivals when they did the game there?
Okay. Controversy abound.
Okay.
Asmongold.
That would be really good.
I like if there's gonna be Asmongold, I think there should be also Savix.
Wait, Adrian did the Twitch rivals?
Yeah, he did. Yes,
he did.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah. Wow! I didn't realize that.
All right, so that's that. So if anybody wants, again, we're gonna have the link for that in the show notes. Go ahead and sign up. If you don't have a team, go ahead and sign up as a free agent, and possibly there'll be a server guild or a server group being built already. So.
Oh man, I really got to get to 60 quick because there's only like 100 alliance on my server, so we probably could get together at least one team.
So just again, be aware, this is live. It's going to be live server. It's going to be live gear. So whatever you have is what you have going into this.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
That's
so
good.
last
That's how it should work in Classic.
Yeah. You think so?
I know so.
I've run that raid 100 times. I just need that one pair of... Yeah.
I just need Mage Blade, please.
Yeah, please.
I've been killing things for 2 weeks solid. I haven't slept. I just need my rank 14.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that makes me wonder if people who had rank 14 would be better at it. Anyway, let's move on. So the last couple things, we have the MDI Global Finals, which are going to be happening on the 12th of July, or the 10th to the 12th of July. And there is the Arena World Cup Global Finals. We're not exactly sure when those are happening. I don't remember seeing that yet. But I think they will be announcing that hopefully soon. So that's as far as I know about news. If anybody else out there has any events that they're aware of, please go ahead and let us know. And in the meantime, let's get into our subject analysis and finish talking about these Covenant abilities we started last episode.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet cheeks.
Let's do it. We had a lot of fun talking about these last time. And today we're going to start jumping right back in at looking at the Paladin class and what kind of options they have available to them. So we're gonna follow our good order that we were doing, where we were kind of going through one at a time. So Gerissar, start us out, buddy, with Paladins.
All right. So Paladin has for the Kyrian, they have what's called the Divine Toll, which instantly casts Holy Shock, Avenger's Shield, or Judgment on up to 5 targets within 30 yards based on your current spec.
This is a fun button to press.
I'm sure. It's instant cast, 30-yard range. It costs 30% of your base mana, and it has a 1-minute cooldown.
I did use this button at BlizzCon, so technically I did get to play Shadowlands before you guys did.
Oh,
Touché.
Dude, do you have alpha yet?
No, cheers to that.
All right. At least, I guess one of us has to always stay in the Shadowlands waiting room, right? So
I guess so.
We need a control group, right?
They probably said, this loser's playing Overwatch. Don't give him alpha.
All right. Ashen Hollow. Yeah. Hollow the target area, dealing shadow damage split among enemies and restoring health split among injured allies over time. The land remains filled with anima, causing additional shadow damage to all enemies. You gain the benefit of consecration while within this area.
Ooh.
So, for PvP,
Is that?
Hold on here.
Yeah, what did you just read?
Think.
So what it is that it's a consecration that heals your allies, hurts your enemies, and you get all the benefits of bonuses of being in it that you would normally get.
You're reading off of the World of Warcraft page, whereas we're looking at the Wowhead page. That's what.
Did I click on the wrong one?
For whatever reason, Wowhead has a different.
Okay, hold on.
I think it's because they just pushed an update this week, or was it last week they pushed an update? Yeah, Wowhead updated because they have the data mining, and Blizzard's a little behind on updating.
They don't go back and retroactively correct their pages.
So hold on. Let me catch back up with you guys. So
they're supposed to.
Monk, Paladin.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's reread this then, because that was old news.
Yep.
Ashen Hollow. Hollow the target area for 30 seconds. Every 2 seconds, an enemy in the area suffers 150% of spell power as shadow damage. And an ally in the area is healed for 160% of spell power within the Hollow. You may use your Hammer of Wrath on any target, 30 yards range, 1.5 second cast, 4-minute cooldown.
Wow. Okay. So
I just don't like it. Even reading the update, using your Hammer of Wrath, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is get it out of the Hollow.
This is a PvE ability.
Yeah, at a 4-minute cooldown,
and even then,
we'll never see good play in PvP.
4-minute cooldown. I mean, it lasts for 30 seconds, but like, holy cow!
So
Yeah.
this, though, I mean, it depends on how much spell power they're going to be having, but 150% of your spell power every 2 seconds for 30 seconds. So that's 15 ticks of shadow damage. This kind of,
or 15 ticks of healing.
yeah.
Or-
So the Pally drops this. The I wonder what that would look like for Cupid Cleave. Have the hunter trap you drop this, and they have to sit in the trap, and they're just getting hit.
Yeah,
Well,
and
hit.
they have a
Wouldn't the
save.
dot
And they have a
come out of the
save.
trap? Wouldn't the dot break the trap?
What dot?
The 2 second save of suffering damage.
Does I
Like-
guess that would break trap, wouldn't it?
Potentially,
Yeah, it would break
but
trap.
it only says one enemy suffers 150% of spell power damage.
An enemy in the area suffers
Right.
150%. So
And
I mean, it's not even guaranteed.
Typically,
Oh, man.
your healer, unless they're playing with like an H-Pal that's playing aggressively, which typically won't happen against a Cupid Cleave, right? Because they're not going to be cleaved by an H-Pal. And plus it gives, I mean, I don't know, possibly. It could be so that the hunter doesn't trap them. But either way, typically, you're not trapping with
Well, can I point out an ally in the area is healed.
Right.
That's true.
One
It's
ally, not
and Yeah,
everybody.
that's true.
So I mean, this it's a raid mechanic. You drop it on the raid boss. It's from what I understand, it's huge. Like this area of effect is really large,
Oh.
but it's not. I mean, for PvP, you just they dropped it, reset.
Walk out of it. Yeah.
We're gonna walk out. We'll let them stay in it. We'll go try and get a drink. Why would we want to engage them on such a beneficial location?
True.
Yeah.
And like you said, a 4-minute cooldown. I mean, that's
It's just so painful. If this was a 2-minute cooldown, okay, we're talking potential here.
Yeah.
4-minute cooldown, I just don't see it being.
fair.
And again,
This is for
compared to
raid
other
bosses.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raid bosses.
And it's
PvE.
for raid boss healing. This is you drop this Ashen Hollow on the tank who's tanking the raid boss, and you're doing damage to the raid boss and tank healing.
Yep. Good point.
That's what this is.
All right. Let's go on to the next one there, Andallyn.
Sure. So from the Necrolord, we have Vanquisher's Hammer. So this one depends on what spec of Paladin you are. So Retribution, if you're a Retribution, you throw a hammer at your target, dealing 80% of your spell power as shadow damage, and empowering your next Templar's Verdict to automatically trigger Divine Storm. All
Holy.
right. Little John
Okay.
Deere. Holy throws a hammer at your target, dealing also 80% of your spell power as shadow damage, and empowering your next Word of Glory to automatically trigger Light of Dawn. Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Protection. You throw a hammer, you know the hammer deal, and empowering your next Word of Glory to automatically trigger Shield of the Righteous, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I like this.
So obviously they're
It's on a 30-second
it's-
cooldown, by the way.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
The frequency is good.
Yeah.
30-second cooldown, that's pretty good. The fact that you're dealing damage and I mean for healing for the holy aspect, I'm dealing damage and I get a good heal. I mean, how is that bad? And I can do it every 30 seconds. That's fantastic.
Depends on
Yeah.
if this is on the GCD or not.
Even if it's on the GCD, that's not a bad. It's not a bad play. Every 30 seconds,
is.
you get to deal 80% of your spell power, and you get a heal. Immediate auto trigger.
Yeah, it's on the GCD.
Oh, okay. I see now. The actual ability throws the hammer. I'm thinking you have to use this ability and then use Judgment. Okay, got it.
No.
That makes more sense.
Okay.
Makes more sense. Yeah.
I mean, I like it. It's not bad. You're
Yeah.
doing damage to, like I said, you're doing damage to a target, and then you get something else. So yeah,
You know,
retribution.
it impacts your gameplay.
Yeah. It could be interesting
You know?
for if you're playing a Shakaden. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Indeed. Okay. Night Fae. So this is the last one. Ooh, this one's got some interesting things to it. So you get the Blessing of Seasons. So you have the Blessing of Autumn, where you bless your nearby party members for 1 minute, causing their cooldowns to recover 10% faster. You have the Blessing of Spring, where you bless your nearby party members for 1 minute, increasing their healing done and healing received by 10%. You have your Blessing of Summer, where you bless your nearby party members for 1 minute, causing their attacks to have a high chance to deal 25% of the spell power as holy damage. And you have the Blessing of Winter, so you bless your nearby enemies for 1 minute. Their attacks will reduce enemies' movement speed by 20% and attack speed by 10% for 6 seconds. So the neat thing this is every time you use a blessing, it then moves to the next one and it has to cycle through. So you can't just cast the same one every time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is kind of cool.
Blessing of Autumn, it turns into Blessing of Winter.
Yeah.
When you cast Blessing of Winter, when you cast Spring, turns to Summer.
Exactly.
I like this mechanic a lot.
I think it's pretty cool. I
like this mechanic a lot.
It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna work well in PvP though. Some of those abilities are going to be great in PvP.
Oh yeah, some of those abilities are like killer. I could definitely see when you're in the starting zone, you want to like, okay, we're just going to click to the blessing that we want right off the bat. Which I mean, honestly, you'd probably want to start with Blessing of Winter.
Yeah, I think that would be.
You know,
So-
you start with
Spring.
Blessing of Winter so that you can get on the guy and just boom, slam him.
So check this out.
Whoa! Somebody just launched a motorcycle trinket.
Yep.
Huge bike trinket. So check this out. It's got a 15-second cooldown. So you can have 3 of these bad boys rolling.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because they last for a minute. Right?
So now the question though is, does it overlap or does it replace?
That's a great question, actually. If it replaces, then obviously, right, you're not going to be able to have multiple of these running. That's interesting. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Me neither. That's why I asked the question. I think knowing how Blizzard normally runs things, I'm guessing this is going to override. So what you'll probably do is you'll click it, wait 15 seconds, sure, it comes back, but then you unless
and put it on your other teammate or put it on yourself.
Well, exactly.
I mean, because each one of you could have one of these blessings.
Well,
No, it
it's
seems
an
to bless
aura.
all you. Yeah, it's an aura, so it blesses everybody.
Blesses your party members. Oh yeah, no. So you're right. So it's everybody in the party gets it for 1 minute.
Yeah.
And when you probably use it the next time, you probably erase the. Man, it would be too good if it was you could stack the 3 different blessings.
Yeah. See, but
That'd be
if
insanely
it cycles every minute, okay. So let me back up a second. Actually, Blessing of Autumn reduces the cooldowns 10% faster, right? So what you would have to do is it lasts for a minute.
Yep.
But then it's got a 15-second cooldown. So what you're essentially doing is, imagine if you're an H-Pal healing like The Walking Dead, right? So what you're doing is they're going on like 1 minute goes. What that allows you to do essentially is get it to a point to where you can pull down their goes to being every like, let's see, if it 10% faster, 10%, maybe like you could make their goes faster by an extra 6-10 seconds possibly. That's actually really interesting.
Maybe.
If you have a disciplined H-Pal who's just cycling through blessings and essentially recovering you, Blessing of Spring outside of your go, and then Blessing of Autumn once you actually pop your go is actually like regenerating your cooldown faster so that your offenses come back up faster. And then outside of that window, when your offensive cooldowns have faded, they're pulling Blessing of Spring to be able to allow you to be able to easily be topped off, taking increased healing. Yep. Blessing of Summer, which they have to cycle through, which is actually giving you more spell power.
Yeah, more damage.
Yeah, this could be really interesting with something that's going to be like a some kind of cleave that's going to work on quick go cycles. I could see this being very viable.
No, because I agree with everything you're saying. You come out the gate with Blessing of Winter. When you're ready to engage, you hit Blessing of Autumn. You pop all your big cooldowns. You go immediately, or I guess it would. Oh no, because it would be winter into spring into summer, and oh man, yeah. This is interesting. I like this. This is a puzzle to figure out.
And yet it's so reliant on the healer being in sync with you. That's what I like about it. Because you can't just use this and be like, oh yeah, now we're flexing, boys. You know, it's not like you just put on Gushing Wounds and now you're like, my auto attacks are so powerful. Like, you know. So.
No, I mean, I guess you should start with Blessing of Autumn. You start with Blessing of Autumn. So that you can pop all your cooldowns and get the cooldown regeneration. You immediately go into Blessing of Winter, which then means you're able to stay on target so they can't escape. And then if you're not able to get the kill, you go to Blessing of Spring and you're in reset.
I like it.
You know, this is, I like this.
Or it even gives you the opportunity to where you can go to Blessing of Spring whenever you need to. There's a lot of flexibility there to where it's like, oh wow, Icy Veins and and Vendetti just got popped. Like Blessing of Spring.
You guys, I need to point out one thing though. This is all on GCD as well. So now you're gonna have to choose between GCD for this or GCD for something else.
That's true. That's true. But most HPALs are also being able to balance other GCDs with changing out their beacons and being able to balance out. So I don't think it's that disruptive to the playstyle as it is.
So HPAL, sure. What about Ret?
Oh,
you just push this before you hit the. You just push the button before you actually make contact with the enemy.
Fair, but then
throw your hammer.
I mean,
run up to them. In the middle of running up, you push your blessing of season, and then you're on the target. And you should have been able to not miss a beat. No wasted cooldown.
I can't believe you used the word running and paladin in the same sentence.
It's true. Sorry, I apologize. Waddling.
That's right.
A paladin is to waddle.
Okay. So out of these four, it sounds like Blessing of Season is probably one of the more interesting ones that has some really interesting gameplay. The Vanquisher's Hammer definitely has some opportunity. The Divine Toll is neat. That one definitely has. I mean, that's a really high cost though. I think 30% of your base mana.
Yes, that's
a huge
the only
cost.
problem with it.
Yeah,
and that's the only problem with it.
And then Ashen Hollow, like we said, it sounds pure. That sounds like it's purely a PVE centered one. So,
yeah,
it depends though.
My pick is Night Fae. My pick is Night Fae. I think that allows you the most player engagement.
Yeah. Blessing of Season.
I hope they go well. The carrying ability is just really fun to push, but at 30% of your mana, you will just go so quickly.
Let me just say this though.
What?
The Ashen Hollow lasts for 30 seconds, okay?
Yeah.
I could totally see a stance where a response to something like a rogue mage, Ashen Hollow could actually be valuable depending on how long or how large the actual area is. Now, here's why I say that. Take Ruins of Lordaeron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you dropped this on top of the center coffin, what you're doing is you're creating the map into be a donut. And if they're inside the donut hole, they're ticking for damage every 2 seconds, and it's helping you out a lot. So
only one enemy is ticking.
Sure, but still, why would all three of them the point is that this can easily create some serious zoning to allow you to all in certain comps on certain maps.
Sure. So
Now,
you're thinking like,
if this was on a 2-minute cooldown, I agree totally.
No,
I
this
agree
is why it's
100%
all
if
in.
this was
This
on
is
a
why it's all in.
2-minute cooldown.
It doesn't matter what the cooldown is because it's all in.
it's do or die.
This is something that becomes incredibly niche. That's probably just used in tournament play. You would never do this on ladder.
Okay, I see what you're saying, and yeah, I like that. It's creating area of denial. It's like, you know, if
the area is large enough, depending on how large it is. Because if
That's
it's
true.
really large, like, well,
It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
yeah.
I don't think it's as big as you're thinking, but I mean, it would definitely that center ring plus a little bit. You know, you could definitely wall off probably a walkway and some
I
of
just
a
found
box.
it. It's a 20-yard radius ring.
Never
So 20-yard radius. That's actually, I think that would actually cover the tomb in the center. But it wouldn't go
what's
beyond that.
concentration?
It's not
Concentration,
enough.
what, 10 yards? You're
I
getting
don't think
double.
so.
Okay. So it's double the size of consecrate. All right. I mean, I think you're right, Andallyn. It has some potential.
Possibly.
Yeah. But I think you're right. Like, I would be very hesitant to make that my my only choice that is then never really changeable for PV. If I'm thinking just PvP, looking at the other stuff, like, I'd rather not pick something so niche.
Absolutely.
only works.
I think
No.
Night Fae is the one that I like the best. I'd have to go Necro Lord second.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You know,
I think
I
I'm
agree with
leaning
you
the
on
same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
it's pretty
thinking.
cut and dry.
Yeah, I think the divine toll would be really good as a pally healer, just because the
it's
instant
so
cast
fun.
holy shock.
It's so fun to push.
I'm sure, but again, that 30%. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, it
Chunked.
just hurts too much when
Yeah.
you're.
You'd be walking around with a bag full of water just to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Demon Hunter's dream.
It's
It's like
you're already waddling.
it's like, guys, I mana burned him. Wait, he just dropped like 30% mana. Yeah.
But I missed it. All right. Okay, how about let's talk about priest here though.
Let's.
This one's kind of cool. So we got the first one from the Kyrian, which is the Born of the Ascended.
Boon.
So boon. Oh my goodness, my eyes. I need new glasses. All right, Boon of the Ascended. So you draw upon the power of the Ascended for 10 seconds, granting you access to Ascended Nova, which replaces Mind Flay for Shadow and Smite for the Discipline or Holy, with Ascended Blast and increasing your movement speed by 50%. Upon expiration, releases all an Ascended Eruption, which explodes for 150% of your spell power as arcane damage to all enemies, and 200% spell power as healing to all your allies within 15 yards. Increased by 3% for each stack of Boon of the Ascended. It's a 1.5 second cast on a 3-minute cooldown. Interesting.
Wow.
So priests become an arcane mage AoE machine.
Time bomb. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just see how easily this is countered.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you push the button, the 1.5 second cast. We know there's going to be a beautiful animation
Yeah.
that the priest drawing in all that power, and then all of a sudden, Hammer of Justice. All of a sudden, sheep.
Yep.
Well,
All of a sudden, ice
here's
trap.
what I see.
You know,
I
it's
see
like,
it being even simpler because they say that you for each stack. What that tells me is that you're getting stacks. So, purge.
Yep.
oh gosh, I hope they don't do that. That is such a feel bad.
So the thing though is that
7,
if
8,
I read
9?
no.
Uh,
No, but if I read this right,
Okay.
purge would instantly trigger the eruption. So if you cast
upon
this, if you let it go,
expiration.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you purge it, you instantly will take 150% as spell power damage as arcane.
And heal
If
your
you let
enemies.
yeah, exactly.
Within
Or
15 yards.
yeah, so you have to make sure they're close. Now, I think the other question is how fast do the stacks tick? Because it doesn't say it in the I don't see that in the tooltip. So there's some questions there,
Yeah.
but I
So
think
it's only
yeah.
3% for each stack, which is
It increases by 3.
pretty
So it starts at
minimal.
150 and it goes, so the next tick it goes 153.
Yeah, that's
goes 100.
pretty minimal.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one.
Okay. Do it.
So from the
Okay.
Venthyr, you want to take it or am I taking it?
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay, go for
Venthyr,
it.
mind games. This is fun. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know what you want.
I like this one. Assault an enemy's mind, dealing 200% of spell power as shadow damage, and briefly reversing their perception of reality for 5 seconds. The next spell power, and then it's a mathematical equation, times 400 divided by 100 times 1 plus versatility damage they deal will heal their target. And the next spell power, versatility, healing they do, will damage their target, generating up to 40 insanity, reverse damage, and healing generated up to 40 insanity. Shadow and restores up to 4% of mana. So here's how this works in actual real life. Okay.
My brain
Your
hurts.
enemy, yeah, no, this is a weird spell,
Tooltip,
but I've
yeah.
played with this one a lot on my priest, and I love it dearly.
Okay.
If an enemy is attacking you, and you cast this on them, they start healing you.
Okay.
And if they're a healer and they're healing an enemy, they deal damage.
Healing an ally, they start doing damage.
Yeah,
to the
if
other.
if an enemy is healing an ally of an enemy player, the enemy healer starts healing the healing team. You cast it on them, they will start dealing damage
Oh, this is incredibly
got it.
good
to
then.
the character.
Yeah. Okay.
This is incredibly good.
So
You
fun.
cyclone somebody low, you hit mind gains out of the cyclone.
The healer tries to heal themselves and kills himself.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh,
was that an
it's so
own
good.
goal?
This
Oh,
is so
no.
fun. This is so fun. So yeah, no, this right here
That's good.
has so much play around to do with it. It's so enjoyable to
This
use.
this
Okay,
one
really
thing
is.
could actually, I could see something like that actually making priest legitimate, like in arenas. Like
Oh
this
my
could
goodness.
make
Yeah,
them
yeah.
like literally
This would make
tier,
it- yeah.
S tier. Like the fact just because you can take mind games and literally secure kills as a healer, like that's
Now
that's wild.
here's the kicker, man. Here's the kicker. 45-second cooldown.
I know.
So what go can a person do that this will not be up to counter? Up, mage cast icy veins. Mind games.
So my only question is there going to be any indication to the player enemy to know that this has happened to them? Or
I imagine
is
there will, but
I mean, really,
True.
if there is, then that just means that the person is going to stop doing something for 5 seconds.
Yeah, but
so I get a free 5-second stun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 5-second stun or a 5-second of healing. It's so juicy.
Yeah.
So juicy.
so it depends because like imagine I'm a ret paladin and I've already bubbled and
Yeah.
my heal I just got out of a cyclone or whatever and my healer has mind games on him. Can I bop him and free him from that? Like because if he heals me he's gonna kill me.
Yeah, that's gonna
Like,
be interesting. I don't know.
what-
I imagine this can probably be purged.
What's I
can
wonder
probably
what
be
kind of
cleansed.
interactions these and what kind of an aura this is.
Yeah,
I'm
I would
looking.
probably guess that this cleansed.
So I'm also concerned about two things. One being a 5-second cooldown. I'm guessing in PvP that's going to be reduced. There's no way that they're going to have a
1.5 second spell cast for 5 seconds.
Yeah, there's
1.5 second cast.
yeah, but it's not
And
it's
on
not
the
going to
target
last.
for 5 seconds.
There's no way that's going to last for 5 seconds in PvP.
Well, and the thing is, it won't, depending on how much damage and healing the person is, because it's capped. That's the other part of this, is that if the person exceeds the cap, and that's where the math comes into, you get X amount of healing off of it, and if they're able to do that amount of healing in 2 seconds, then Mind Games falls off.
Gotcha.
But in dungeons, when I've used it on a boss, you know, there's some hits that they'll do where the single hit will clear all the amount of healing or damage that they prevent in the single shot.
Okay.
So
and that's
it'll
what
only
that's
be
what
on
the
there
math
for
comes in.
1 second. Yeah, it'll only be on there for 2 seconds, but the one hit, the one move that they used is healing instead of damage.
Gotcha. So, and I mean, it's basically your spell power times 4. Yeah. It's 4 times your spell power, including your versatility modifier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Essentially is what this is. So
divided by 100.
Well, no, that's why I said 4.
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
Yep. So just to kind of break it down as simply in the most simple term here. So this is. I bet you this is fun to play with, and I can see where this would be really, really neat. This is
it's really fun to play with. It's a great spell to use on PvE mob, and I can't wait to start playing with this inside the arenas.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
The fact that you can use this
just imagine this. Imagine. Oh yeah, no. Imagine this. You've got a druid who's got dots on everything. Your dots are now your hots are now dots.
Yeah.
Well, does it actually see? But would it not?
That's a good question.
It would be the dots that you would apply in those 5-second window.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so
would definitely need to be tested, right? Because for 5 seconds, the next damage or healing they deal.
Oh yeah.
So if it worked on existing dots and hots, I mean, basically, because druids are going to have Moonfire up on everything that they can, and they're going to have their hots up, on everything they can. And so you literally just invert the table, and they're now healing you, and they're dealing damage to their team.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it's possible that because a lot of classes have been doing snapshotting, right? And then so the table's created off the snapshot, and then it's just all server run after that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that this would be based on player interaction at the time that they're mind gamed. So this would work on, let's say, again, if you're talking about doing it on the healers, it would work on Disc Priest, it would work on Holy Priest, it would work on Paladin, but I don't think it would work on Druid, because Druid, if they have a bunch of hots rolling on people, you mind game them, they're just going to sit there and watch everybody stay healed. I'm guessing.
We'll have to test that.
We have to test it, yes.
That.
But
yeah, if it works the way on existing healing, existing hots and dots.
Yeah, because I mean, you can say the same thing for warlocks. If they have a bunch of dots rolling on, or balanced druids, they have a bunch of dots rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay. Let's keep moving through these. We're gonna end up.
We're gonna go to part 3 if we're not.
I know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So the Necrolord grants you Unholy Nova. An explosion of dark energy heals allies within 15 yards for 150% of your spell power. It infects nearby enemies with Unholy Transfusion. Unholy Transfusion deals 200% of your spell power as shadow damage over 15 seconds. Allies who damage this target receive healing for 20% of the spell power. It costs half a percent of your base mana. It's instant cast on a 1-minute cooldown.
That's powerful.
That's insanely cheap.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Powerful.
In comparison to the 30% we just talked about.
Yeah, from Paladin, 30% of your mana, or
so. I have a question. Windstead, can you log into Alpha on your priest?
Yeah.
And tell me how much spell power you have.
Ooh, that's a darn good question.
Let me.
Because that would really help. That would really help kind of put this into context.
Well, I think if we're gonna do that, we also have to know what the health pools are looking like as well, right?
Yeah, we kind of have an idea of that, right?
I don't know if anybody's level capped yet in beta. because that's the other part. Okay, level 57 priest.
Quincy, thanks for the raid.
That's awesome, Quissy. Thanks. Whoa.
Hey, Grimlock, welcome to the stream here. We're just talking about the alpha things here and looking at some of the Covenant abilities. Currently, we're looking and delving into the priest options and looking at the Necrolord option. So
Indeed. And how it relates to PvP, right? So
that's right.
Okay, so this is interesting. I'm not seeing a spell power.
Okay. It's probably a hidden stat.
Yeah, I got 453 plus intellect off of my gear for grand total. So baseline is 316. I'm getting an extra 453. I'm a grand total of 769 for my intellect, but I'm not seeing a spell power.
It's probably a hidden stat that is actually a function of your intellect.
Yeah.
Wait, if you actually mouse over intellect, does it not give a okay?
Doesn't tell me a spell power. No.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
No worries. So let's that's really neat. Let's talk about the Night Fae though. The Night Fae gives you Fae blessings. So you surround yourself with helpful sprites, causing your next 10 spells cast to aid your target depending on your chosen spell. So Discipline, if you're a Discipline Priest, Shadowmend Mind Blast reduces an ally's damage taken by 10% for 15 seconds. Power Word Shield. Invigorate your target with 2% mana or 20% resource. That's interesting. Power Word Radiance reduces the cooldowns of one major ability for all targets by 3 seconds.
Nice.
Yeah, Holy Priest. Flash Heal and Heal reduces damage taken by 10% for 15 seconds. Power Word Shield invigorates targets with 2% mana or 20% resource. Prayer of Healing reduces the cooldowns as well of major abilities by 3 seconds. So very similar between Disc and Holy, right? Now Shadow
Makes
Priest.
sense.
Yeah, exactly. Shadowmend and Mind Blast reduces an ally's damage taken by 10%. Power Word Shield invigorates, same thing. Except here we're using Void Bolt is what's going to reduce the cooldowns. So
5 allies.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I wonder if you're stacking. I mean, a Ret Paladin Shadow or Priest typically isn't a 2s or a 3s composition, but I'm like, man, if you start getting all this cooldown reduction, that could be dirty. You're putting like insanely quick Avenging Wrath through a Ret Paladin. You could do some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Can you imagine doing jungle with disc? Or not, or Cupid with disc? Either.
Well, and it's you have
True.
to take note of the interactions, because what happens is that when you cast the Shadowmend or Mind Bend on the enemy, they reduce the damage to an ally.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying that when I cast a spell on him, he does reduce damage to all my allies.
Yeah.
For
It's
Holy,
an enhanced smite.
For Holy, it's when you heal the ally, he gets the damage reduction.
Right.
And then when you shield, you restore 20%
resource.
And that is just going to be so.
That's what's huge. Power Word shielding a
huge.
DK or something like that. That's really strong.
Yeah. Instantly regain runic power.
Yeah, it's not going to be very beneficial
or Rogue's
on
energy.
magic wieners. Yeah, and this is where it's like it's not going to be beneficial to cast it on your healer because they're only getting 2% mana back. Congratulations, that's one.
Guys, what about Thunder? Or Turbo Cleave, or Turbo Cleave.
Oh gosh,
what would this do to Turbo?
Just jump Rage and Maelstrom. Wait, isn't Maelstrom going away? Maelstrom's going away, I thought, but there is a resource that they use.
They're using mana, correct?
They're still gonna have a resource. It's just different,
right?
So
it's not actually gonna be a resource. So
yes.
I think you just get stacks of Maelstrom.
Yeah, but still as a warrior, you're gonna have Fury still. right? You're
And
still
bear
gonna
in mind-
have cooldowns.
Bear in mind, that's true. This could pair really well with a turbo cleave. It's on a 1.5 minute cooldown,
Yep.
and it's instant cast. So
That's what
I'm
yeah.
wondering how long. This is the next 10 spells. So
Yep.
power word shield. You just boom boom put power word shield on
Yep.
both of them, and it's like 20%
Flash
resource
shield,
for
heal,
you,
power
20% resource for you. Like, and then after that comes off cooldown, it's like you could just keep putting
Yeah.
power word shield on. That's
Definitely.
you keep just buffing their resource.
Well, I
Yeah.
think it's forbearance
Or-
is what you got to wait for, and then you can shield again.
Forbearance is for paladins bubbles.
There's one
Yeah.
for priest that means you can't just spam the shield on them.
It's
well,
cooldown
you-
on power
you-
word shield, right?
Pardon me?
Does power word shield have a cooldown? Can't remember.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it puts a debuff on, so they can't eat unless you pop. There's a cooldown for it. I forget the name of it right now,
Rapture.
but then you
Yeah, no, it's
your rapture. Yeah. So, but I mean, so okay, so you power shield everybody, then you power word radiance, then everything just dropped. But they just lost a major cooldown, 3 seconds off a major cooldown, and then you shadow mend, and they're not taking any. They're taking reduced damage. Right. Do that, and then look, go. Now you just went from a 1.5 minute or 2 minute push to 1 minute pushes, and then you finish the push, and then you're right back into the cooldown's done, so you're good to go.
It
I love
seems
it.
Really fun.
I like it.
It seems really fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as good as.
No.
It's going to be very comp specific.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I think mind
20%
games will be.
resource is. Yeah, the 20% resource bonus is really what's going to make this shine.
Yeah.
But I put my money on Venthir's just going to be good no matter what. Night Fae will be good in certain comps.
I think Venther's only going to be good. It depends on how they tweak it for PvP.
Yeah, it does.
Just
Yeah,
saying,
absolutely.
if they make it so it does reduce damage, or they cap the time frame on it.
Blizzard, don't hurt me that way. Leave Venthir alone. Venthir is good the way it is for Priest. Just don't touch it.
All right, Windstead, why don't you take us
have
into
that
Rogue?
fun.
Yeah, let's get into this.
Okay, Rogue, Kyrian. Echoing Reprimand. Deal 60% of attack damage as arcane damage to an enemy, extracting their anima to anima charges a combo point. This thing's confusing. Damaging finishes moves that consume the same number of combo points as your anima charge deal damage as if they consumed 7 combo points, awarding 3 combo points, 30 energy. It's melee range instant 45-second cooldown. So
Yeah.
what this is you're playing a matching game. Okay. When you cast Echoing Reprimand, it's going to give you between 3 and 5 combo points or something like that. A random number of combo points as anima combo points. Okay. Then you have to play the little mini game of trying to match your normal combo points to your anima combo points. And if you are successful at doing that, you get to deal damage as if you were attacking with 7 combo points.
Nice.
So example, if you got 1 anima combo point, which I'm not sure you can do, but if you got 1 anima off of Echoing Reprimand, you could then push a button that gives you 1 combo point, and then execute,
Like eviscerate.
or eviscerate, or do a finishing move that uses combo points, and you will deal damage as if it were 7 combo points, even though it was 1 combo point used with 1 anima charge.
And it awards 3 combo points, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So now then you do 1 move with 7, and then you can do another move with 3.
3.
Yikes. Okay.
But it's a weird game, though, because the anima charges is random. It gives you a random number of anima charges and anima combo points
Does it?
that you then have to match with your normal combo points.
Makes sense.
How do you see that? How do you see that it has a random number? Because it says to anima charge a combo point. I don't want to see where you're saying the random stuff. I'm confused by your.
It's I watched Preach did a video on this.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a random number of anima charges, and it's then you have to match your existing combo points to the random number generated in order to get the benefit of the 7 combo point damage.
Yes.
So you'd probably be better off having, if you have 4 stacked charges, you hit this, or you have four stacked combo points, you hit this, and then you have X number of anima charges. So at worst, you have to maybe get one more charge or one more combo point. At best, you've already matched or come close to.
Well, I think if you already have combo points, what you would want to do, assuming it doesn't clear your combo points, is if you already have 4 combo points, and let's say your random number was 2, right?
Yep.
You would just fail, right? Because if you used Eviscerate, you would be using it for 4 combo points instead of 2, which was your anima charge number, and then you would not get the 7 point. So I'm assuming I could be wrong.
Your anima charge, from what I understand, your anima charges stick around for a little bit.
Okay.
And you can continually try to match up to it. Because when you play Rogue, when you push a button, their abilities do, I'm going to give you between 1 or 2 combo points for this ability.
Yeah.
Okay. There are certain abilities that automatically grant you 2 combo points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This one will automatically grant you 3. Now, I think they max out at 5.
Yeah, it does.
And so my mind would be is that I generate 2 combo points. I'd hit this one. It gives me 3 already, so I'm max. So then I can execute or eviscerate. Boom, I hit. I now can try and push a button to get me an additional couple of combo points to try and match my anima charges, and then I can eviscerate again.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
so
wow.
that's the way I see this.
Or imagine if you hit
out.
3. Imagine if the anima charges is 3, it awards you 3 combo points, and you just
and you can immediately eviscerate as if you had 7 combo points.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Now
So
I wonder.
Right.
I wonder what happens when you 7 combo point cheap shot somebody.
Well, but
this is just my problem.
That's some insane RNG. That's it's too much RNG.
Too random. I cannot control this like I would need to. It'll probably be really fun to see some
Not
crazy
necessarily.
one-shots happening.
Not necessarily.
But
You could load up the gun to be able to do this. I don't think that this is too random. Especially because it's damage. It's on demand when you want it. Especially like if it's the next ability that you use, then you know maybe you're right. But if it's actually the situation that it kind of allows you to discharge the 7 combo point whenever you want or whenever you get it, like imagine your number was 4 and you're just putting 5 point or 2 like 3 or 5 point finishers on moves, and then when you're actually ready to line up with a combust window because you're playing rogue mage, you actually put that 4 point on, which actually is a 7 point. That's damage when you want it. That's actually providing you damage into your window. That's incredible value, especially on a 45-second cooldown.
If the RNG lines up, if you're able to then produce the number of anima charges,
it doesn't have to line up.
Yes, I totally agree. In order to get the benefit of 7, though, it does.
That's not RNG. That's not RNG. You being able to say 2. I mutilate 2. That's not RNG. That's quick response time. Right?
I think the RNG, if I'm understanding correctly, is more about if you have a combo points already sitting and you push this, and then if the anima charges match what you already have, versus what you're talking about, I think Andallyn is charge up and then
depending on how you play with it. Depending on how you play with it, exactly. But I mean, I feel like any smart rogue who's playing RMP is, they just sit there, they load their gun, until they're ready to go. They literally control. Okay, now it's time to do damage.
I got damage. Let's go.
That's what you're doing.
It worked out that way.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move into the Venthyr, who have Slaughter, and they, according to this, it slaughters the target. Surprise. causing 95% some change of your attack power as physical damage. The target's anima mixes with your lethal poison, coating your weapons for the next 5 minutes. Slaughter poison deals shadow damage over time and steals 15% of the healing done to the target. This also awards 2 combo points. It costs 50 energy. It's melee range, instant, and requires stealth. Holy opener, Batman.
For the next 5 minutes.
Yep.
It coats that. I wonder how long that slaughter poison actually lasts.
12 seconds.
Somebody. 12 seconds.
12 seconds.
Wow.
So pop this
Imagine
on your go. Yeah.
Imagine you're running subterfuge. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And you coach your weapons and you put this on everybody. And you're playing Affliction Lock Rogue and the other team has a Resto Druid.
Yep.
Doesn't even have to be Affliction, actually. Sorry. You're just, imagine you're Peekaboo. You put this on everyone, and you're going up against Cubsy, who's on a Resto Druid.
Yep.
All of his dots or all of his hots are ticking and healing you for 15%
of what they're healing their friends for. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see this. I see this in a situation of.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking. Just open up a slaughter.
Yeah.
Now you have slaughter poison. Fan and knives the whole team, and now they all have 15% healing reduction. You just sharpen blade, or you just mortal strike everybody.
Basically.
Yep. Wow. And you're
gives
giving yourself
combo points.
Yeah.
But it's 50 energy, so yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why it has to be opener, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the next one here?
I see this being very, very beneficial when you vanish. You know, if you're in trouble, you can vanish, and then you can immediately open back up with this and start getting healing. So
it says steal the 15%. It doesn't say that you get the 15%. So that might be just wording to make it sound fancy. I don't know if you actually get that 15% of healing, or if that's just an actual mortal strike.
I didn't think about that. That could be. You could be right about that.
Shadow damage over time and steals 15% of the healing done to the target. So whenever the target is healed, you get 15% of that.
You don't know that per se.
I think. Yeah. Are we going to start talking about PvP toys again?
No, we're not. So.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So Necrolord, serrated bone spike.
I got it. Serrated bone spike. Embed a bone spike in a target, dealing 60% of attack power, physical damage every 5 seconds until they die. Attack serrated bone spike causes all of your active bone spikes to fracture and strike your current target, increasing initial damage by 100 per strike. 10 energy, 30 yard, instant cap. So,
you like this ability, don't you? This is your favorite ability. I'm not entirely
sure how this works. Because is it 2 spells? Because you're embedding one, but if you attack with it, you then break them all. So I'm curious if you can stack the bone spikes. Like, how many bone spikes can I put out there? And then break them.
I don't know.
For 100% of the initial spike. Because if you get 2 or 3 spikes, this is huge. If you only get 1, not as good.
I think it's only 1 at a time. I actually noticed on the tooltip, when you tooltip over it, it actually changes. It's only 3 seconds. So I think they updated it. It isn't on the tooltip, not on the text that's in this.
So I have a feeling.
3 seconds until they die.
Yeah. I have a feeling what this is doing is you put the serrated bone spike on, and it's doing that ticking damage every 5 seconds until they die. 3 seconds until they die. But it says attacking with serrated bone spike. I think what that means is if another rogue uses serrated bone spikes or something like that, what it will do is
it's got to be a
doesn't stack.
special button. It's got to be a special button to use.
If you use it again,
the bone spike.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I don't know what it means by causes all of your active bone spikes. How? There's a lot of that's a big jump. Like, wait a second, how did we go from just a single bone spike that's doing ticking damage to all of your active spikes? Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So if you can have multiple spikes, theoretically you could have 3 spikes into 3 players. Arena team, 3 spikes. They do 60%, so you deal 60 damage per se, 100 attack damage, 60 damage each spike, and then when you break it, use it, you deal 60, 120, 180 on the target.
Here's a thought,
the
guys.
damage would stack up. So
yeah. So what about this? What about Pop's rated bone spike the first time in a rated battleground in the scrum? Do fan of knives. Everybody has bone spike on them, and then cast bone spike again, and cause every single one of those bone spikes to do 100% more damage every 3 seconds.
Oh, that's the idea. So it's putting it on different targets.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, stacking them out there.
Yeah, I think this is an on-use AOE.
Yeah.
With an on-use doubler.
Now it makes complete sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and it's gonna make all the spikes deal the fracture damage to the one target that you're currently at.
Right.
Causes all of your active bone spikes to fracture and strike your current target, increasing initial damage done by 100% per spike.
Wow.
Holy cow! Actually, I could see a situation where essentially what someone does is they go and they put one of these on like a bunch of targets and then have a complete one-shot ability.
Yep. Yeah.
So this definitely has some PvP aspect. I can see this totally working well in a PvE aspect, especially if you're talking like a major boss that has a bunch of ads. Run around, bone spike a whole bunch of the ads, then click it again, and all the spikes go back to the boss because you're attacking the boss. And just yeah.
Well, see, it actually doesn't remove the spike. It just says they fracture and strike the current target.
I have to believe that it goes away if it fractures, though.
No.
That would just be too insane.
It says until they die.
Yeah, good point. Who knows?
I'll have to play with this.
Yeah.
We'll consult.
I'll have to get into a Torghast and see if.
All right, so let's talk about the Night Fae.
Okay.
What is this? Sepsis? Am I saying that right?
Sepsis. Yeah.
Infect the target's blood, dealing nature damage over 10 seconds. If the target survives its full duration, they suffer additional damage and you vanish from sight. Cooldown reduced by 60 seconds if sepsis does not last its full duration.
As on a minute and a half cooldown.
Yeah.
So if you sepsis somebody and then it gets cleansed, instantly you get your sepsis back in half a minute or less.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you get
That's
to vanish
crazy.
and then have a brand new open.
Yep. Wow. That's crazy. So sepsis. So it's basically making somebody septic. Is what they're talking about. Septic blood.
Yeah.
So you deal damage over 10 seconds, so it's a dot, essentially.
Yeah.
And if the target survives its full duration, they suffer an additional that damage. So basically, 12. Okay, so just a little bit.
Yeah, it's 12% of attack power times
25.
Yeah.
So it's a good little bit.
Yeah, that's a good bit. And
you
it's
vanish.
a free vanish, yeah.
Yeah. So then you can do another opener. Depending on your cooldowns. I think sepsis is the one that takes the cake there. But all these are pretty there's some questions there, but they're pretty good.
I think Venthyr.
Yeah?
Slaughter. I think that Slaughter is going to be really good.
Oh yeah. Just because of the 15% reduction.
15%. You steal 15% of the heal. I think that means that 15% of the healing that they would take, you take away from them, and it gives it to you.
See, but
So
with
if they were
wording,
healed for 100 hit points, If they were healed for 100 hit points,
You have
they will
15,
actually get
or you
healed
get-
for 85, and
Yeah.
you get 15.
See, but
'Cause
with
you
wording,
I-
normally
I
they would
heal
say that
15%.
and apply it to you, or they would say and heal yourself, or use the word leech. Like they already have
Yeah.
wording that explicitly states this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the
That's my
steal
only
is just a funny way of just saying they're not trying to say Mortal Strike, so they're trying to make it look funny or look fancy. But I think it's just a Mortal Strike with fancy words. I don't think you're getting the actual value of 15% healing taken.
Okay, so that's another thing I'll have to test. So I'm going to
Yeah.
test Slaughter, and
Mhm.
I'm going to test the Bone Spike.
All right. And what about Andallyn? Out of the 4, which one would you take for Rogue?
Guys, I'm taking the Echoing Reprimand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I
You like
think
playing
that's
Lego,
gonna get-
or-
I think that's
Yep.
that's actually going to be the most bang for your buck because in arenas, yeah, it's really fun to be able to maybe have a cool ability that you think is going to be really effective or have large amounts of uptime on. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is damage in your window, and about putting damage where it ought to be. That's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. And so I'm telling you, I think high end wise and rogues that are pushing ladders are all going to be taking Echoing Reprimand.
You're probably right.
That's just my guess.
I do like the thought of sepsis though. That looks pretty fun.
I know. I like it too.
Is that the first one that we've actually had, like, all three of us pick a different one?
Second one,
I think so.
Okay.
I think there was a
I
different
can't-
one. For
Yeah, I don't. That would make me having to pay attention to what I say.
yeah.
All right,
Shamans.
Shaman.
Boys, we got to get through 3 more of these.
yeah. Okay.
All right, so Kyrian, Vesper Totem. Summon a totem at the target's location for 30 seconds. Your next 3 damage spells or abilities will cause the totem to radiate 50% of spell power plus 50% of attack power as arcane damage to up to 6 enemies near the totem. Your next 3 healing spells will heal 6 allies totems for 100% of spell power, 100% of attack power. Casting this ability again while the totem is active will relocate the totem. 10% of your mana, 40% range, instant cast, 1 minute cooldown.
Interesting. Okay.
So
summon
this
a
is
totem.
really fun.
Yeah.
This is a good ability because you can do all 3 healing, all 3 damage in any
Or
spec.
toss it up. Okay.
Any spec, this is beneficial to have.
Okay.
I see this breaking.
So if you're
CC.
running Turbo, if you're running Elemental, or you're running Resto, this is hugely beneficial.
What's the AOE on the totem though? Because I think Andallyn, you just brought up a good point. Is if it's too big, you're going to break CC.
Potentially.
And where does it relocate the totem? Does it actually have like a smart relocation? Like, is it putting
No,
it?
you cast it at a
okay.
target location.
Gotcha.
So it's just like your Soul Link totem. You get to pick where it goes.
Okay, and you just
Okay.
have to
Slap it on
keep
the ground.
placing it.
Oh, and yeah, it's 8 minute or 8 yard AOE. So that's not very big. So yeah, so you can place it up to 40 yards. It has a 40-yard range where you place it,
Okay.
and then wherever you place it, it will AOE 8-yard radius around it. So,
But it says casting this ability again while the totem is active will relocate the totem. How long does it last? 30 seconds, but it's a minute cooldown. It's impossible to cast it again while the totem is active.
unless there's something that would change your cooldown, like if you're playing with a priest that has
Not
something
by
that reduces your
30
cooldown.
seconds, though. It would drop it by like 10 or 7 seconds, not 30.
I'm kidding.
So I'm confused about something's doesn't seem right there.
I think that's
You know what it does? It doesn't replace your charges. So literally, when you cast it down, you put it in one spot, boom, and then if you want to, you can move it. within that 30-second window, but you still hold. If you use one charge, you don't get 3 new charges. You're still left with 2 charges.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you can just.
okay.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, I
Cool.
can see that. I
Let's
thought
go to
that was
chain
just a
harness.
leftover. I thought that's just a leftover they always have with the totems, where you can recast and it relocates them. I think it's just something they have to put into the wording, even if it's not possible.
Well, and
So-
I mean, think about this, okay? Your friends dive on the enemy target. They're
Yep.
out of your line of sight. You drop this totem next to the corner that they're behind. You start healing yourself,
Yep.
and you're healing
Or-
them.
So yeah, okay. Yeah, because you're casting heals on yourself while the totem heals your friends.
And it will radiate
Yeah.
healing.
Yeah, fair.
6
Yeah.
allies, 100% of your spell power, plus 100% of your attack power in health.
Yeah, that's actually quite a bit. Okay.
So, I mean, this is a really interesting. I don't like that it's 10%. That seems like a lot of mana. But in dungeons, this thing has been fun.
Okay.
In dungeons, this has been very, very useful.
I can see that.
So,
All right. Chain Harvest then. So this one's with the Venthyr, and with Chain Harvest, you send a wave of anima at the target, which then jumps to additional nearby targets. It deals 45% of your spell power as shadow damage for up to 5 enemies, and restores 120% of your spell power as health to up to 5 allies. For each target critically struck, the cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds of this spell. And it's a 1.5-minute cooldown on a 2.5-second cast. Whoa.
for
That's
1.5 minutes. Yeah.
That's a 2.5-second cast though. That's a bit big. But so basically it's like a ping pong. So it'll ping, but it's random. I'm guessing. Oh no,
Well,
sorry.
it can jump up to
To
10 times.
Well, it says up to 5 allies or
And
5
5
enemies. So
yeah.
You get 10
PvP
jumps.
wise, I just don't see this as being good. The fact that it's 5 tells me this is a PvE ability. This is dungeon designed.
This is raid and dungeon. Yeah.
Or battlegrounds. Let's
Well,
not
it's
forget
only
about
I'll
that.
five.
need to test this to see if because if it bounces back and forth between the same ally and the same enemy 5 times,
Yeah,
then that's really cool.
potentially.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it bounces back, but if you've got 2 enemies, 2 allies, it'll jump between the enemies up to 5 times. It'll jump between the allies up to 5 times. Theoretically, you get 10.
yeah,
10 ticks.
exactly.
I think whenever I see that, it always makes me think that it's only 5.
Unique,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
5 unique targets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it only bounces 5 times. Like, so if you
Yeah.
have 2 enemies and 2 allies, somebody's going to get hit a 5th time, but it's only going to do 5 jumps total.
Yeah.
So okay.
It's just too random to be safe.
Yeah. I can see that.
Too random to be safe.
What,
You know, you can
Andallyn.
cast it wanting it to heal, but it could
Yeah.
just end up doing a bunch of damage
Um,
instead
I-
of the healing that you want, or
Potentially.
vice versa.
Potentially. So let's look at Primordial Wave. So you blast your target with a Primordial Wave, dealing spell power, shadow damage, and apply Flame Shock to an enemy or heal an ally and apply Riptide to them. Your next Elemental Lava Burst, Enhancement, Lightning Bolt, and Restoration Healing Wave will also hit the targets affected by your Flame Shock and Riptide. So there's a lot to kind of unpack here.
Yeah.
So essentially,
I was-
this Primordial Wave essentially applies your dots for you. And then whenever you use your Lava Burst, Lightning Bolt, and Healing Wave, it'll also hit all the targets that are affected by your Riptide if you're healing, or if you're Enhance, or if you're Flame Shock. So essentially what it's doing is it's doubling up your spells. I see this as being really good for Thunder.
Yeah. That has huge potential, I'm seeing. I think it could also work really well just on the Resto Shaman side, just with you're double
I
riptiding,
don't know.
right?
10% of your base mana, you will go so quick if you try to play with the.
I don't like it as Resto. But I'm saying, as an elemental shaman, I think it's really suave.
Elemental or enhancement, yeah. This could be very, very ouchy.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And then the last one.
Transfusion.
Oh, you're gonna do it? Okay, go.
Yeah, I'll hit it. Transfer the life force of up to 8 enemies in the target area, dealing 25% of spell power plus 25% of attack power. Nature damage every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. Pressing Fey Transfusion again within 20 seconds will resist 25% of all damage from the Fey Transfusion, healing up to 8 allies near yourself. So
Okay.
you just won't be able, unless you're in a battleground, you won't be able to benefit from this as much as you want.
Yeah.
It's up
it's
to
not-
8 targets.
There's not enough.
And the
There's
most
really
you'll
not
do is
enough there.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not enough. Not enough.
Okay.
My call is Vesper.
Venthyr?
I'm liking this.
Vesper Totem, I think, is the thing that you'll be able to use at all times. I mean,
You want the Vesper Totem?
Oh,
I want
that's
Chain
for
Harvest.
totem. Right.
Or not Chain Harvest, sorry, Primordial Wave. Do my stuff. I want Primordial Wave.
Right. And of course, I say this as it depends on what I'm playing. If I'm playing Resto, I kind of like the Vesper Totem potentially, or the Chain Harvest. But if I'm playing Elemental, I want the Primordial Wave.
Okay. I think Primordial just has too much on use for healing as well. I think the 10% base mana isn't that big of a deal for Arresto just because how little mana they use unless they're purging.
Yeah. I agree with you. And it could be really effective. I mean, the fact that you apply Riptide to everybody.
Right.
And does it say how many maximum targets?
Nope.
Nope.
This is insane in raids then.
You could Riptide the whole BG.
It's a 1.5 second cast.
On a 45-second cooldown. And I mean, like literally if you cast that before a boss mechanic, that's large raid damage, and you that hits, and then you press your Riptide, and then what that causes you to do is not only Riptide one person, but also Riptide the entire raid.
Yeah.
You've just infused a
But
huge
again,
amount of healing into your
That's
raid.
not PvP. It's not PvP.
True. So
Yeah, I
think
know.
about that
I
in a
said
BG. You go into the scrum.
BG.
You Riptide. You do that, and then you Riptide everybody. Nobody's gonna flop in the middle of the scrum at the flag.
Yeah.
But again, that's specific. Oh no, a lot of the BGs have scrums, so it kind of works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go on to
All right.
Warlock.
Yeah, I really want to go this one. Okay. So the Kyrian, they have the Skirthing Tithe. So you deal 100% of your spell power as arcane damage instantly, and 140% of your spell damage over 18 seconds. If the enemy dies while afflicted with Skirthing Tithe, you generate 5 soul shards. If they survive, the cooldown is refreshed on Skirthing Tithe. It's a 2-second cast, 40-second cooldown, 40-yard range, 2% of your base mana. That's super cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm gonna read the other ones, but instantly, I love this one.
I did too. That's pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Okay,
Right.
impending catastrophe. Call forth a chaotic cloud of anima that travels to the target enemy, dealing 100% spell power, shadow damage to enemies within their path. When the anima reaches the target, it explodes, inflicting either Curse of Weakness, Curse of Tongues, and dealing 261% of spell power as shadow damage over 12 seconds to all nearby enemies. 4% base mana, 30-yard range, 2-second cast, 1-minute cooldown.
Where did that
This
accent come
sounds
from?
really cool. I don't know. I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
The only problem with this one is that the Curse of Weakness or Curse of Tongues is completely random. It does not. If a person is a magic user, you cannot guarantee that you will Curse of Tongues them at current state of the game. Now, that should be fixed. That if a person has mana, it should Curse of Tongues them. If a person has not mana, it should Curse of Weakness them.
Yeah.
That's how it should work, but it's not working that way right now.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Yeah, because a curse of weakness on a caster. Whee! Now, mind you, it does deal 261% of your spell power as shadow damage as 12 seconds as well. So that's either way, it's an instant dot.
Yeah,
It's
this
a
would
dot.
be really fun for battlegrounds where you have the big skirm going on, and you throw the cloud at them because it's. I mean, it's a what's that monk ability that you have to throw and you have to aim it. But yeah, no, it's an aim thing at a target, and then anything in between you and that target gets hit by it.
Oh, you're thinking G
And then
wave.
when it reaches, it explodes.
Okay, yeah. Oh, okay.
G-Wave,
I get it.
Aim at a target though. You just use
2-second cast seems a little bit long.
Yeah, I don't really care for this.
I mean, the only thing I think is to be fun in his battlegrounds.
See that? Okay.
But I mean, 261% of spell power. If our spell power is pretty decent, that could be an extra chaos bolt there.
Yeah, it depends. Okay.
But I don't know, because I just got done looking at the stuff with the paladin with you, and that was 80% of their spell power, but the area was doing 150%. I thought I remember seeing 400%. No, that's never mind. Yeah.
No,
I guess that's decent. Yeah. Okay.
All right. How about we get into the next one there, Andallyn?
Sure. So, Decimating Bolt. Hurl bolt of shadow magic at the target, dealing shadow damage and increasing the damage of your next incinerate, drain souls, or shadow bolts by 200%. Decimation bolt's damage and the bonus to incinerate, drain soul, or shadow bolt both increases as your target's health decreases. Ooh.
Whoa.
This is a 4% of your base mana cost at a 40-yard range, 2.5 second cast, and a 45-second cooldown.
Oh, wow.
That's decimating.
That can be if you're not kicked while casting it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I wonder what the school of magic is on this. Because if you get kicked on that and it locks you out of all your schools, then that's completely useless.
So it's dealing 4 times
Shadow.
50% of your spell power, which is essentially 200% of your spell power.
Yeah.
It increases the damage of your next incinerate, drain soul, or shadow bolt by 200%. Gerissar, is there a way to make yourself that you can't be kicked?
Not that I remember. Pardon me?
Unending resolve.
Yeah.
I
mean, if you're starting to be a little, if you're looking to, if you're not too devastatingly low on health, you hurl this decimating bolt and the drain soul with, your kick protection. And as their life goes down, your attack goes up.
Yeah, I'm guessing. So this is what I'm thinking is I would probably, as Affliction, probably be dotting, doing like shadow play stuff, and then maybe at 50%, and I've gotten around a kick, I would cast this and then roll in, because I just checked. Decimating Bolt is also in shadow, so if I get kicked while doing this, I'm locked as Affliction. I'm locked out of my whole school.
Yeah.
If I did this as Destro, then that's
you still have fire.
Yeah, exactly. So what? Right.
Yeah.
And then I got a kick out of the way. I can get this back and then do something, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you're going to be able to get it off. If you want to get it off, you can get it off. You just have to get kicks out first. So the thing is here, I'm curious about decimating bolts damage and the bonus to incinerate, drain soul, or shadow bolts both increase as your target's health decreases. So that tells me it's at your target's health being at 100%, the amount of damage it does is 200% of your spell power as the bolt damage, and then it increases the effect by 200%. And then as the health decreases, that scales at some factor.
Yeah.
I wonder what that scaling factor is. Because if that scaling factor is significant, imagine if this is a like you're 30% health, you could easily get to a point where decimating bolts just one shot you.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Night phase.
Okay.
Soul Rot. Wither away all life force of your current target and up to 3 additional targets nearby, causing them to suffer 100% of spell power as nature damage over 8 seconds. For the next 8 seconds, casting Drain Life will cause you to also drain life from any enemy affected by your Soul Rod, and Drain Life will not consume any mana. Consumes 20% of maximum health when cast. 1 minute cooldown.
Interesting.
Really good. You better make sure your healer knows you're about to do that.
Well, I mean, just think about it. You Soul Rod everybody, okay? Because it's 1.5 second cast. Oh, it's on a 1 minute cooldown.
Yeah.
How long does it last?
As long as you channel Drain Life.
Oh, okay. Hold on. It's on your current target and an additional 3.
Yeah.
So if they're
Okay.
all grouped up nice and tight, you 4 targets total potential. And then your Drain Life will cause all 4 of the targets to give you health.
It's 40-yard range with an it looks like it's an 8-yard circle.
Yeah,
so they
around
have to be
around the target.
Yeah, so they have to be tight. Okay. That's yeah. I mean,
It really
it's
just going to depend on how much damage Drain Life does, if it would be worth it. How quickly can you get back that 20% that you used to cast it?
yeah.
So what do you guys like from Warlock?
I'm liking the Skirthing Tithe.
Yeah.
That just screams to me.
I
love
like the Skirthing Tide
Yeah.
and the Decimating Bolt.
Decimating Bolt
I
sounds
would
good.
I would go Skirthing Tide. I would go Skirthing Tide. Because it's always going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work, you just get to cast it again because it's right there.
Yeah, it's 100% uptime. It's always going to be constant damage.
Yep.
And if you kill somebody, then you're just set up really nicely for the next person to kill because you got 5 shards.
Yeah. All I'm saying though is if I'm playing if I'm Cloud9, I'm taking Decimating Bolt instead of Scourging Tide though.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, let's get into the last one here. We got Warrior and we're done.
Okay. So the Kyrian, the Spear of Bastion. Throw a Kyrian spear at the target's location, dealing 200% of your attack power arcane damage instantly, dealing an additional 216% of your attack power damage over 4 seconds. That's a short amount of time. In generating rage. Enemies hit are tethered to the Spear of Bastion's location for the duration, generating 25-yard range, instant cast 1 minute cooldown. That's nice.
Yep. That's actually really good. So it's essentially it's the vortex
Yeah.
kind of idea, right?
Yep.
It's
you
a
can't get out of
huge
that location.
It's a huge upfront hit. It's about the same amount of damage over 4 seconds, which is pretty substantial. It gives you rage, and it also gets you like great uptime. It's a hamstring while doing damage.
Exactly. I think as a warrior, I would always get this just because of mages. Blink now. Try it. I dare you.
Ooh. That's interesting if it does.
It
They're
tethers
tethered.
them to the spear.
Tethers them to the spear. They can't get away for 4 seconds.
Yeah, but tether just means they're it doesn't
tied to the spear.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But you can be tethered to something
Gerissar,
and still
we'll need to
move
test
within a
this.
certain range. When I tether my dog to a post, they can move within that circle radius. It doesn't mean that they're stuck into the ground, into the post. You know what I mean? Like
It's a 5-yard.
it's a 5-yard tether. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, basically, if you what's the tornado or whirlwind?
It's basically vortex. It's basically vortex.
Yeah,
How long
whirlwind
does it last?
inside. You're going to hit everything in there. So I mean,
So the spear lasts for 4 seconds. Are we to assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 minute cooldown lasts for 4 seconds. Tethers everything to 5 yards of the spear.
Yeah.
And you instantly generate 25 rage. Yeah.
I mean, that's just really good.
Oh, and it also damages everybody.
Yeah,
right.
that's just really good.
Next.
Venthyr. Condemn. Replaces execute. Condemn a foe to suffer for their sins. Causing up to 2 times
like a paladin ability.
92.2% of your attack power. Shadow damage only usable on enemies who are above 80% health or below 20% health. The primary target is weakened, preventing up to 1 times attack power times 2 plus versatility. So some funky math there. Damage they would do to you. If foe survives, if your foe survives, 20% of your rage spent is refunded. 20 to 40% rage, 20 to 40 rage cost, instant cast, melee range, 6 seconds cooldown.
Yep.
So really, the only thing different from this than an execute is the fact that you're preventing damage they would deal to you.
Yeah.
And you can use it on enemies above 80%, not just below.
Well,
20.
no, that's true for execute as well.
Nope.
Nope.
Execute is
spec
only
into
20% and low.
Yeah.
If you spec into it, yes.
So there is a spec. So you can spec to it, but okay. I don't know if that's available in Shadowlands.
I thought that talent was only for 20 or 25%. I didn't think it went to over 80. I thought it was the difference. You could execute at 25% instead of 20%.
Well, and that's where
I'd have to look it up again.
From 100 to 80, you're allowed to use this, and then once they're below,
I'm thinking of Reaping Flames. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
It's 25%.
Yeah, so,
Reaping Flames is what allows you to go 80% or 20%. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so if they're above 80% health, you can use this. If they're below 20% health, you can use this.
Right.
Oh, and Grim just pointed out in chat that it procs.
That's cool.
So it's not a guarantee. It's a proc thing. Interesting. All right. Okay. Into the next ones, we got Necrolord, which has Conqueror's Banner. So brandish the banner of the Necrolords for 2 minutes, increasing your movement speed by 10%, causing Mortal Strike as arms, Raging Blow as fury, or Shield Slam as protection to grant you glory. Killing an enemy grants 2 stacks of glory. Reactivating this ability plants the banner in the ground, granting 20% maximum health, 50% attack speed to you and 4 allies within 15 yards of the banner. Lasts for 2 seconds per glory, up to 30 seconds. Instacast, 2-minute cooldown. Sound instantly, I'm thinking PvP Battlegrounds or PvE. Because if I have to do anything that I get benefit from killing somebody, it's useless in Arena.
And you have to sustain it by killing things? Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely a PvE.
Unless you're able
Good
to
for
cheat
trash.
it with totems and pets and all kinds of different stuff like that.
Yeah, there's no way to guarantee that. So I'm sorry, Necrolords, you're not my pick.
All right.
So and
Okay.
then we have Night Fae last, which is the Ancient Aftershock. Slam the ground with your weapon, releasing a shockwave, dealing 220% of attack power as nature damage, and stunning up to 5 enemies for a second and a half. Enemies struck take 42% of attack power nature damage every 2 seconds for 12 seconds, and transfer it to you as 6 rage. That's interesting.
Instacast 1.5 minute cooldown.
Yeah. Interesting. Again, sounds kind of neat. Up to 5 enemies. Okay, so this sounds very.
You would never get all the full benefit out of it
No.
in PvE.
No,
PvP,
This
I
gram.
mean.
it sounds like something that's already
Dungeons.
neutered. Yeah,
Sounds Mythic Dungeons to me.
yeah, it does.
I'm really liking the Spear Bastion for PvP
Yeah.
for this.
I mean, Bastion Spear. That's
Yep. Okay.
I do like Condemn as well. I think that could be really nice, in the sense that if you are going up against another melee cleave, you're opening with Condemn, and you're preventing damage that they would deal to you.
yeah.
I think that's really nice, and the fact that if your foe survives, if they're above 80% health and they survive, it gives you 20% of the rage that you spent, gives it back to you. So I could see this as being like a really nice way of essentially staying in attack battle stance and still having a huge amount of damage mitigation.
That's true. Never thought of that.
But I agree.
I still like
the
the spear
Spear
though.
Bastion and Condemn. I think those are the two
Yeah.
that I would put on my list.
Okay. So we do have one last thing, and that was the overall signature abilities for each of the covenants. Which is for the Kyrian, they have the Summon Steward, where you get to call a steward to bring you a Phial of Serenity that can be consumed and restore 15% of your health and remove all curses, diseases, poisons, and bleed effects. Your steward additionally offers access to a selection of useful amenities, each once per day. Instacast, 5-minute cooldown, lasts for 3 minutes. The Venthyr, which has the Door of Shadow, so wend your way through the shadows, appearing at a targeted location, 35-yard range, 1.5 second cast, 1 minute cooldown.
That is so broken.
The Necrolord, which has Fleshcraft, form a shield of flesh and bone over 4 seconds that prevents damage equal to 20% of your maximum health. Channeling a near a corpse claims their essence as well to grow the shield up to 50% of your maximum health. This is most effective against powerful enemies. 10-yard range, 4-second channel, 2-minute cooldown. And then lastly is the Night Fae, which is Soul Shape. Turn into a Vulpin, increasing movement speed. You may reactivate Soul Shape to teleport 10 yards forward. Additionally, cosmetic forms can be earned and collected through a variety of gameplay. While out in the world, this effect has a 12-second duration before it wears off, but lasts indefinitely while you're in a rest area. Instacast, 1.5 minute cooldown. So, just raffle through those really quickly. I like the Phial of Serenity. I mean, having a Phial that you can use to instantly give yourself 15% of your health and remove a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If that's usable,
it's going to be really powerful for
Very.
PvP.
Yeah, it's going to be baseline
really
if it is. Yeah.
The Necrolord, I mean, starting off if you can cast that while in the prep zone and it sticks with you when the gates open,
No.
that's instantly having a
Total
20% shield around you.
Nope. But that's not how, because anything that you cast on yourself while you're inside the room gets removed when the gates open.
Okay.
So
So that's
and the 4-second channel.
Not anything.
Ugh.
yeah. I thought some
Because
stuff stuck
because
around.
I can put beacon on you
4
and it
seconds.
won't go away. Sorry.
I thought all buffs. Like I know when I cast a barrier on somebody, it gets pulled off.
Right. But
When
I
we
mean, I
walk
can
out
put
of the
beacon
room.
of light on you and it'll stay on you when the gates open.
Well, that's because it counts as a buff. This is a shield.
You just said all buffs.
My apologies then.
Okay.
The shield gets removed.
Yeah.
This is a shield. It will get removed.
Yeah, probably.
We'll see. I think this is another thing that needs to be tested. Ultimately, I think between all of those, though, the one that instantly piques my interest is the Kyrian, just because of that buff and then removal of all stuffs.
For me, I see Door of Shadows as just being really broken.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I get to move 35 yards
True.
every minute.
Yeah. On a minute and a half, on a second and a half cast. So fair. I mean, that's pretty short.
I mean, it's or the Night Fae again. I get 3 blinks every minute and a half.
Okay.
It's just so. I mean, your ability to disengage from opponents, and I'm thinking from the healer aspect. Okay.
Yeah.
My ability to get away from you is huge. You know.
Yeah, I can see that.
So if I can, get a kick and then cast this and get myself 35 yards away, I'm a pretty happy camper.
Yeah, potentially. Depending. I mean, if you're a Mistweaver monk, though, that's not as valuable. It becomes less valuable because it's just
You're already
access.
Hugely mobile.
It's access mobility. Like the diminishing returns doesn't just apply to CC. It applies to everything. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a formalized.
I will say that it does line up well with the Fallen, which is the summoning your bunch of friends.
Oh yeah.
So I mean that's a nice pair to line up, for my opinion.
Okay.
I have a ton of mobility, but More mobility never hurts.
So, what'd you guys think about the Covenants in general? What'd you like?
Ooh.
I think the Summoner Steward is going to be really, really powerful, but you're going to have to line it up with the class, and that's
No. I'm talking about just Covenant and abilities
Just
that we've talked about over the past 2 parts of these last
Okay.
episodes.
yeah.
So,
Overall,
so not the
As a whole.
signature abilities overall.
Yes.
I think it's going to be very interesting. I'm worried that if you want to min max, you're going to be forced into a certain ability.
yeah.
So I'm interested to see where it goes. There are definitely some big winners and losers inside these abilities as far as like where we're concerned with player versus player.
Yep.
Potentially. It's hard to say for certain, really. But, I'm sure you're right. There will be. Now, whether or not we can actually kind of predict those, I'm not sure. Something that's interesting to me is, and I actually kind of find surprising, is the amount of emphasis that they put on, we want to give somebody, like every class, like a huge cooldown. It seems like the cooldowns on all these abilities across the board are substantially high. I mean, not all of them, but it seems like every single one has a 3 to 5 minute cooldown that they're kind of like gassing you around essentially. And I just found that surprising because most abilities typically aren't more than a 2 minute cooldown.
I mean, I don't think a lot of some of these abilities do have absurdly long cooldowns, but I think most are under 2 minutes.
I think it depends on the class.
The thing that concerns me about the length of cooldowns is the ones that are substantially longer. I don't think justify the long cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
There's what was that one that was a 4 minute cooldown, and it did basically nothing really usable for PvP. The Ashen Hollow.
Yeah.
A 30-second concentration on a 4 minute cooldown.
Yeah, that's not the only one. There's some that are 3 minutes. There's like meh. That's a little bit much for
like 2 minute cooldown there. Maybe good. Yeah. 30 seconds on the ground on a 2 minute cooldown. Be up every 1 minute and 30 seconds. That sounds more playable for PvP.
Okay.
I don't know. I was surprised that they were throwing in a lot of abilities, frankly, with 3 minute and longer cooldowns. It's just odd. I can't think of any. The last time an ability with a 3 minute cooldown plus was added.
Yeah, good point.
That's all.
Yeah.
I think the last one was like, what was it, Kata or something like that? Or maybe Mop.
Or was the last ability? I don't know. I mean, of course, if you have a brand new class, I'm not going to count that as a new ability or anything like that. But
fair.
I mean,
I'm going to say
even like your artifact abilities and stuff like that, and things that you got from essences, like 3 minute cooldown plus on any of them.
I can't remember.
Can't remember
all of them. Yeah,
that's all.
I personally for me, I think that there's still some balancing that has to happen. Like you said, like some of the mana cost, the duration, the cooldown on them, and some of it just doesn't seem appropriate. Again, like we're just reading off of it. We don't know what it's like in practice.
Yeah.
But I think some of it seems a little unbalanced. From a PvP perspective, I would say there's definitely 1, maybe 2 covenants per class that are definitely usable in PvP.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, as a player, min-maxing or not, we are going to be stuck to using only 1 if you're going to be strictly PvP. That said, we don't know how the gearing and everything's going to work out, so I feel like there's going to be some classes where they are going to be stuck between I either choose this and I only PvP, or I choose that and only PvP, because the ability doesn't transfer across the 2 realms very well. So we'll see how that looks.
Yeah.
But all right.
I think a good summation of this is actually kind of like, imagine they took a poll around Blizzard about the one thing you would change for every class and took the best answers and made abilities out of them.
I think that's appropriate.
I kind of like it. It's been really.
I wish that was true.
These.
I wish that was true.
Yeah, we'll pretend it was true on this show.
Exactly. All right. Well, now that we've done that, before we lose the rest of our viewers, why don't we get into the WoW PvP news? Run through that quickly, and then we'll get out of here. And because I know Andallyn, you have a puppy that probably needs to go outside before it makes a mess somewhere in your floor there.
We'll make it work.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
All right, let's get into the news.
Yes.
The
news. The news. So we had 2 AWC Cups in the last 2 weekends. Wow, my mouth stopped working all of a sudden.
AWCU Cup 2.
Thank you.
Happened 29th of May. Congratulations to Wildcard Gaming.
Indeed. And then the NA Cup, which ended on the 30th of May. Congratulations to Cloud9 for taking that one. Big surprise.
You're being sarcastic there, right?
Yeah. Hugely sarcastic.
Okay.
Again, what a surprise. Both Wildcard Gaming and Cloud9 took the 3rd cup just last weekend as well. So they are completely wrecking the brackets. Big surprise, actually. On the last NA Cup, Cloud9 actually got knocked into the lower bracket, only to come back out and take out. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. But that was also probably one of the longest cups I've ever sat through.
They probably did it on purpose.
I don't think so.
Go to the lower bracket for a little bit. Why not?
I don't think so. I think Golden Guardians were just playing out of their minds. But the dampening was insane. Like there were 60% plus dampening. It was pretty insane. Let's talk hot fixes though. Let's talk.
I feel that it's safe to say that a lot of these hot fixes are because of the dampening games that were taking place.
I think partially yes. I think partially it's also stuff that's been happening on live before it really was seen. What we were watching there on the tournaments, especially I think before it was assumed to be okay because the corruption was random. But as soon as they put in the ability to purchase and just max out versatility, then it really kind of made itself apparent that they needed to fix some stuff.
Yes.
All right. So first and foremost, actually, in the Temple of Kot Mogu, this one's actually kind of important. Using the Breach Trinket no longer makes you drop orbs. I think that's important.
Interesting.
And then there was a bit of a change that happened with the Gladiator Spike Trinket. They changed it where it was going. I guess for some reason people weren't being in combat. They were able to get out of combat while it was still going on. So they fixed that. And then also there was a change where they removed how it stacked on enemies, but then they changed it so now you can stack the spite. So it's a bit of a change, and then they're like, yeah, that's not working how we wanted it to, so they put it back. Gushing Wounds nerfed 35% in PvP. Very important.
I wonder if Blood Mallet's already done all of their sims to kind of figure out where it lays now.
Good to know. I'll have to go over there. I haven't been over there for a while.
I wonder. I'm actually looking right now.
Okay.
I thought the goal was to make the games last shorter amounts of time, not
me too.
increase the dampening that will reach by nerfing 35% of Gushing Wounds damage.
So I think the problem there is just like where we're seeing with things like Infinite Stars and with Tendrils, where the amount of damage that was being done by corruption was far exceeding anything that players were doing. Thus, really, I think this is a part where Blizzard wants people to die from players' abilities, not from random trinket procs and corruption abilities.
Fair enough.
So with that, speaking of letting people die, they also changed Conflict and Strife Major, Rank 2 Major, which was when you get stunned, you gain, you used to gain 100% of your versatility defensives. Now, so it wasn't working with all the stuns. So if you got stunned by a rogue, it triggered. But if you got storm bolted by a warrior, which is a stun too, it didn't trigger.
Huh.
Which is one of the reasons why we're seeing so many thunder or so many turbo cleaves, and also the jungle cleaves, because a bunch of the bash and that wasn't triggering it. So they fixed that. They fixed that. But because everybody's stacking versatility now, they nerfed how much defensive, so it only does 50% more defensive benefit from versatility, down from the 100%.
Right.
Good.
So you don't end up turning into an invincible machine
when you stun somebody, right?
when you're stunned. Yes. There was a small bug. I tweeted about this earlier, but the inevitable truth. If you were kicked while it was up, it would actually extend the lockout, the CD lockout. That's actually been fixed, so now you only get locked out like normal instead of for like 10 seconds.
Already terrible hotfix that still makes it not that good, but not as terrible as it was. That's so funny. Yeah.
Let's see here, what else. Okay, so there's a bunch of issues on this one. So there's versatility, and then there's the corruption called versatile, which is the one that increases how much versatility you get from all your sources by a certain percentage. That's been nerfed in PvP, so by 33%. So if it was like a 6%, it's 33% less of whatever that math works out to. My brain just hurt. And the other one is Mistweaver's the Chrysalis PvP talent, which reduces the cooldown on Cocoon by 45 seconds, has been nerfed to only 25-second reduction. So now we won't be seeing a Cocoon for every single go. Hopefully.
Okay.
With the exception of what Inevitable Truth can do. So we'll see how that goes.
I was just really hoping to play more Mistweaver, and now...
Well, you can still play it.
They're taking my OP class and making it worse. Gosh dang it, guys.
How
Let
can
me
I not
play
be OP
something
when
broken.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
No, not for you. Blizzard, don't let Windstead play broken things. He's not allowed.
No, I'm not.
Okay, one last one. I want to give a shout out. So I've tweeted about this guy. We talked about him last time. The Battle Stance guy over on Twitter. He's been putting posts up on Twitter, and he's been putting posts up on the /r World of PvP. Have you seen the graphics this guy's been putting out?
They are pretty slick, man.
They are amazing.
Super informative. I really, really enjoy looking at those.
Me too. I've seen a lot of reaction from the PvP community on both Reddit as well as on Twitter. So they actually reached out to us. So they wanted me to give a shout out. If there's they want feedback. If there's something you want to see, let them know.
Yeah.
If there's something that they can add, let them know. They're totally open to trying to see and improve and give as much information to the community as they can. Right?
I think I'm going to give them something. I want to see player profiles. I think it'd be really cool to be able to go to your website, Battle Stance, and to be able to click on Sea-Doo and get a breakdown of Sea-Doo.
I don't think they actually have a website yet. I don't think so.
Well,
that would suck.
There you go. There's number one. That's number two.
All right. Okay. And I'm going to skip that last one.
But you agreed that would be really neat, right? Because, I mean, we get to see, like, the little snapshots of, like, the matchups of, like, oh, guys, here's the Space Station Gaming versus the boys. It does the same team against Cloud9. And it's like, oh, wow, this is really cool. They win this percentage when they're playing this comp, and, you know, they're doing like really well in these types of situations on this map or whatever. Being able to get a breakdown of, like, I wonder what Snuts' win rate on Ruins of Lordaeron is.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
That'd be amazing.
Like, that would be really cool. That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or even what Nick the Rogue's win rate is on his main versus his alts that he plays at an insane level as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. All right, guys, let's get this going. Because I don't know if you guys can see me, but I don't know if I can sit here any longer, or I'm gonna somebody's gonna have a mess to clean up. Do you guys have any shoutouts?
I think we did ours.
Where's my hat?
Battle Station Gaming. I'm getting so tired. Battle Stance. Yeah.
Battle Stance. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I want to give a shout out to our listeners
to all of our listeners.
Oh, there he is.
Who support us through Patreon. Spasiba. You make this possible.
Totally overtalked each other. That's okay. I want to give a shout out to our listeners for sitting through 2.5 hours of us talking. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Masochistic, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know either. All right. Andallyn, do you have anybody to shout out? Or
No, I think that's great.
right.
I like to shout out to Battle Stance.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's that. Let's tell our listeners where they can reach us.
Sure. You can visit the Warcraft Radio website to find us and many other great shows at warcraftradio.com.
You can also contact us directly with a tweet to @technically_PvP or an email at technicallypvp@gmail.com.
Indeed. And you can also join our discussions over at the Warcraft Radio Discord. Links for these will be in our show notes. I want to thank everyone for listening. We'll chat with you next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Ciao.